Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed to taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
God, it's almost like your mind's telling you no.
Well, my body is, telling me to do it. Yeah. So,
it.
gang, episode 584. Lots going on. India, Pakistan getting uglier and uglier and uglier. Carney from Canada comes down and has a sit-down with the president. Should have been Pierre Poilievre.
Sure.
This other guy that you ran for office that lost in the most embarrassing way ever. I don't know if you guys have followed that story at all. If you haven't, it's
we
something
haven't.
that's been out
we
there.
haven't.
Yeah, and then at the
news?
same time, today, apparently the president's going to be making a massive announcement at 10 a.m. If we catch it, we'll show it to you as well on the podcast in regards to a massive trade deal. New York Times leaked a story saying it's with us and Britain. We will see if that's what the story is all about. There's a few other stories that's out there as well that we will get into and discuss, such as Trump announcing that they leaked this. They're going to be announcing that he no longer wants to call it the Persian Gulf. He wants to call it the Arabian Gulf, which, by the way, for 2,500 years, it's been called the Persian Gulf. Let me say that again. For 2,500 years, it's been called the Persian Gulf. I have some thoughts on it, and I have a clip I want to show you from the show back in the days when he was sitting down with the Wallace. I think it was Mike Wallace, the OG, and then the son is Chris, but he sat down with Mike Wallace, and that conversation took place. So that's something that's very important to Iranians. We'll talk about that. CNN's Harry Anton says Americans think Trump handling crime far better than Joe Biden. I mean, the fact that they even have to run a poll on that, it's slightly comical, but, you know, they have to do what they have to do. Carney said Canada's not for sale, and then Trump replies, never say never. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney calls Trump transformational president, and the president said, your victory may have been even bigger than mine. So they're very complimentary. But the deal, when the lady asked a question, says, so, Mr. President, after the time that you're having with Prime Minister Carney here, would this meeting at all cause you to remove all the tariffs on Canada? You know what his answer was within half a second? No. He just says no. So we'll find out why that is. We have some thoughts on it. Teamster boss praises Trump. Foreign film tariff condemns Hollywood's un-American addiction to outsourcing. Newsom proposes to work with Trump to make America film again. Floats 7.5 federal tax credit. Why does the federal government have to give you the tax credit? Why don't you give it, Newsom, out of your state? Why have the government take care of you? While every time you get money from your state, the money kind of disappears and it's not invested properly, like the $24 billion you got from your taxpayers from homelessness. But we have some thoughts on that, obviously. Doug Burgum warns of real energy emergency that will permit China to dominate U.S. A lot to talk about with the India-Pakistan conflict that started on April 22nd with the Muslim terrorist organization that showed up and killed 26 of them. There's a video clip of a guy who's on a zip line recording himself. Yeah. He doesn't know what's going on. They're killing the people on the ground. He gets the footage of people getting shot and killed while he's ziplining through. Maybe we'll show the clip here while we're going through it. Rob, I know you do have that clip as well. It's tragic what's going on there. But by the way, within days, you're going to hear people talking about free Pakistan. And, you know, the same way they call the Maryland man, they're going to say, freedom fighters. You know, they're going to use phrases like this. So just wait. That's what BBC was doing themselves as well, and they're using a different word, which maybe we'll get into. Moment Harvard president is confronted with evidence of liberal bias. Rob, do we have a video on that to show? Okay, fantastic. Ultra petty new California law tricking drivers into paying huge fines. Don't you just love when California comes with good policies, creative policies on how to get money from taxpayers even more? You got to tell them they're so creative on taxing people more.
I might move
And
there,
what I even love more is how honorable to people in California are that they love paying more taxes.
Bring more.
That desire to be so giving in California and say, tax me more, please. I love it. Raise
never take.
my taxes. Wonderful people of California that it's driving them insane, but you have choices, folks. There's called 49 other states. You chose one of them. There's plenty other great states in America they can choose from. This next one, Stephen A. Smith said he's glad that Trump won because Dems have played black Americans like suckers. And Vinny loves that
He
story.
just found all
Yeah,
this
man,
out.
listen,
Yeah,
Pete
weird.
Hegseth is firing generals, by the way.
A lot.
1
Good.
5-star and 4 4-star generals, because those guys, when you become at that level, sometimes you're no longer a soldier. You're more like a politician.
You are.
It's because
They
the
are.
Congress, it's a different kind of a thing. AOC and Sanders fall flat with young voters as Gen Z rejects weird radical wing. And by the way, Bernie Sanders, Vinny told me about this video. Apparently, I haven't seen this video. I'm going to see it for the first time and react to it. He's being asked, why did you spend $200,000 on private jet? And apparently he says,
Hold on. You expect me to stay in line? Are United? What are you create? The more his hands go up,
I
the more full
don't
of shit he
believe
is.
this. By the way, I don't believe
Okay,
this.
you're going to see it.
Until I
saw
see
the
it.
video.
I've not
Yeah,
seen
this-
it
this
until
is
I
a
see it.
Snapple fact.
Until I see it.
I saw it.
Iran tests missiles it claims can penetrate, what a word, U.S. and Israeli defenses, okay? So that's Iran. I mean, they're just playing tough guy right now. High school juniors with a $70,000 a year job offers, according to Wall Street Journal. Florida's COVID-era housing boom is over. Biggest decline in prices in more than a decade in Florida.
Let's go.
Yes.
Vinny, now's the time, baby.
I'm a psychologist who studies couples, not me, but this story. The number one phrase that breaks up relationships, it's more damaging than you think. By the way, brace for impact. Maybe watch that section of the episode without your spouse. Coming like, babe, don't watch today's podcast because I don't want to get into a fight with you. It's going to lead to a fight. Maybe even 17 divorces. We don't want to take any responsibility for that. So
I'm the type of person, bring your spouse for this segment.
Yeah.
Bring your significant other.
Bring your spouse at your own risk. It is what it is. And then we got some stuff that's going on with Fed. Everybody wants to know who this John Bryan guy is, who claims Prince Andrew had sex with minors and openly talked about it. James O'Keefe dropped another one. Good for him. Pam Bondi dismisses claim Epstein's info is missing and defends delays in releasing files. Kash Patel erupts at Democratic lawmaker over Capitol riot. You got to see this one. You got to see this one. It's epic. And then we got a few other things. There's a 17-second speech that Hegseth gave that's phenomenal. And then some of the stuff that happened with Lady Gaga, suspected terrorists accused of planning to kill fans at Lady Gaga concert. ID'd as immigrant recently deported from the U.S.
You don't say.
Yeah.
That's
How
odd.
many congressmen are going to fly there and try to bring him back?
It's not
An
gonna
angry
happen.
illegal
It's not
alien
gonna
wants
happen.
to
And
mess
Pat,
up
not
some
to, because
people.
you know I hate birthdays. You know
Yeah.
I hate birthdays, but I just told
Don't
you.
do
see
it.
that
Don't do
every
it. I don't
day.
want you to say it.
No, what?
Because it's this whose birthday it is.
No, it's not a birthday.
What?
It's not a birthday. Guess what today is?
Who?
Remember I told you May is dope?
Yeah.
Today, May 8th, is my 3-year anniversary of
Get
Valuetainment.
out of here.
Let's go, baby.
My man.
Let's go.
And by the way, today is also a guy named Tony's birthday.
Is it really?
It's Tony's birthday. Tony, if you're listening, Tony.
Tony.
Happy birthday. I
Tony's
know
on.
Tony's had an incredible last 7 days, but it's Tony's birthday. Tony, we love you. Happy birthday to you, buddy.
Let's go.
Hopefully, future looks bright.
Tony's on
for,
vacation today.
And happy
Yeah.
anniversary.
He'll be
Really?
back tomorrow.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Good for you, Tony.
Happy
Wherever you
anniversary,
are,
my friend.
tell all the ladies we said hello.
3 years
okay.
of BT.
All right.
When did we go to Vermont?
Probably very
So,
true.
guys, before we get into the podcast, this is the one thing we've been looking forward to announcing. For those who are insiders with us that participate with McDavid Consulting and some other things that you do, you always will get access to merch that's coming out before everybody else. However, after a long time of me wearing Stefano Ricci clothing, the partnership is becoming more and more evident and public. We're excited about the collaboration between the Valuetainment brand and Stefano Ricci. This has only happened with a couple different people that they've done this with, ourselves, Bocelli, and it's exciting to see what's going on with this. So, at SLS, at Mar-a-Lago, we launched our premium quality gear for some of you that are business owners that want to wear cream of the crop clothes, ties, jackets, all of that. We have that here for you. Rob, if you can play this clip here. So we officially now have a collaboration of ties with Stefano Ricci. We have this jacket that just came out, new ties with Valuetainment. On it, a blue sports jacket that looks amazing with the Valuetainment logo, the button. I don't know if you saw the button there with the Valuetainment logo on the side of it. Subtle tie and Valuetainment belt. Absolutely sick belt that we have. Again, this is for those that are business owners. Can you show us this jacket here that you have, Chris?
Wow,
Go
look
for
at
it.
that.
Let's go to Chris here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Pat. So we're going to walk you through our 16 units that we have of this lambskin leather aviator bomber here. 100% lambskin. I'm going to walk you why. You're saying, Chris, it looks like we have a couple logos. We don't know what's going on, but let me walk you through why it's special. Obviously, Lion Shield branding, right? Let's walk you through what these degrees mean. This is exactly our degrees here. We're on a landing pad here in Florida. This is where we take off with you guys sitting at home. And let me walk you through why it's special on the inside. So one of the things that Pat has said to us and mentions every day. So we have a little leather patch here. It says, greatness isn't reached by staying on the ground. It's earned by taking off when others are afraid to fly.
My man.
So my man Pat came up with that. It makes sense with our aviator jacket. Let me walk you through our custom lining. You can see
That is sick.
that is VT with our lion shields.
love
Each of the 16 that are remaining are going to be hand signed by Pat with this leather patch. So each one is going to be signed by Pat here on corporate. You're going to see him. We're going to do it right now for you guys just to
Let's
show
do one right
how
now.
special it is.
If you want to show the back, what's on the back?
Show the back.
Turn it around.
Yeah, let me
Turn your
finish.
jacket on.
So when you make that statement, when you walk away, you walk out of that room, you get out of your car, your jet, wherever you're going, that's what you're going to see. You're setting a statement here.
Sick.
So
and then an
flip
American
that-
flag on the side. Bring it over here, Chris. Let
One
me
last
sign
thing,
that.
too. 2 hours of sandblasting, literally, to make that American flag.
Sounds hot.
Let me tell
So
you.
someone
that
sat there for
is
2
sick.
hours.
And when you put it on, it's
ridiculous.
unfreaking believable. I'll sign that, Rob. If you can go on the VT merch as well for this limited edition items that we have. By the way, there's only 16 of these. The Stefano Ricci ties, they're all numbered out of 50. Only 20 are left. The jackets that you see over there, the blue one, there's only 10 jackets left. 2 of the size 40, two of the size 42 and 44, only 146, only 148, and only 150. And those shirts, the dress shirts, the blue and the black, those will go in no time. If you zoom in on those shirts, Rob, if you don't mind clicking on that, just click on one of them and zoom in. The inside says Future Looks Bright with the VT logo on it. I'm going to sign this guy over here. Oh, this is so sick. Okay. Chris, if you want to come grab this, guys, all you have to do is go to vtmerch.com to get this gear. This will literally go because it is limited. And again, if you're a business owner, if you ever see me wear these black shirts, now you're seeing what we're doing, the black and blue shirts, Valuetainment gear, go to vtmerch.com to place your order. Limited supplies. This will go in no time. And cannot wait to see you guys sported and post pictures of it all over the place. All right, let's get right into the story. First story I want to talk about, Rob, is India and Pakistan. This thing got ugly very, very quickly. So the sequence of what happened here, Rob, if we want to kind of go through that, on April 22nd, okay, a Muslim terrorist from Pakistan, from an organization, we can pull up the name, attack in an area, a state called Kashmir, which the war with Kashmir has been going on for many, many years. 1947 to 49 was the first one. Then they did it again, 65. They attacked this area, and while they attacked this area on April 22nd, they killed 26 men only, specifically men only. They said, "Are you a Muslim?" "I am." On many cases, they asked the men to pull their pants down to see their dangling, to see if it's circumcised or not, and then they killed them because that was their way for them to know if they're Hindu or if they're Muslim. They killed them in front of their wives and their kids intentionally. They said, "Go back and say this to Modi." Then they would ask, "Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Give us the Islamic prayer. Give us this." If they couldn't do it, they killed them right there. 26 of them. These were 5 men that did this. So what does India do? You humiliated them. By the way, there's a video of a zip line. Rob, if you want to show that zip line, of a man that zip line, and this video is being shown everywhere. First time you see this video, it's like, what's the big deal with the zip line? This man is zip lining. He's happy. We've all done this before. You and I, most of us have done it, where you're recording it. And you want to post it on social. Rob, you can lower the audio just a little bit so we can hear the shooting. He's going, minding his own business, not knowing at the bottom there are terrorist
They're shooting
attacks.
right now.
They are shooting right now while he's going through this. Not at him. You will see a man drop in the back right there. They're running around. They're scared. They're hearing all the stuff that's going on, the commotion.
Look at this guy on the left.
They're worried. There's one person on the bottom there. Boom.
And he has no idea. He's just
He has no
floating.
idea.
He
He
has
can't hear
no
anything.
idea
Can't
what's
hear
going
anything.
on. You can pause this right here, Rob.
There's a terrorist.
This story is all over the place. And it's been very, very aggressive with all the stuff that's taking place. Obviously, India's responded, attacking them, going back and forth. They're claiming there were planes that crossed. They're claiming even one plane that's a Chinese plane was apparently shot. So China's now getting involved, and China doesn't want to get involved. The concern with something like this is the fact that it may force China and U.S. to get involved. China apparently has put somewhere around $85 to $100 billion that they've invested in Pakistan. They don't want this war to be taking place. But if it does happen, it's also kind of strange, the timing of it, that this happens the moment. April 22nd is when this happens. April 25th is when Apple announces that they're moving the 60 million phones that they're building from India, from China to India.
Weird.
Of course, they kind of whispered about April 7th, but April 25th became official, not looking pretty. The president reacted to the story. His reaction, Rob, is this the one that you have?
Yes, this is yesterday in the Oval Office.
Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. You know, they've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
By the way, did you see what the Pakistani official said, Rob, about what nuclear bombs are all about? If you don't have that, Rob, just go online and look what the Pakistani official said on, I want to say, April 26th about nuclear museum. Just type in nuclear and museum. See if it comes up. Okay, Pakistan nuclear, right there. It's right there on the bottom. Okay, can you make that a little bit bigger? We are ready to stand up. Okay, play this clip and just read it on the bottom. Go ahead, I'll read it. We are ready to stand up to India regardless of the price. If they want to hurt themselves, they have the capabilities to respond to them on every front. We are ready. We will not withdraw. Watch what he says. We will respond to them forcefully. If they do one thing, we will do two. I would like to add that we are proud of our former Prime Minister. Who enabled us to obtain nuclear bombs. These bombs are not here just to be displayed in museums. They exist in order for us to use them. Therefore, if Pakistan needs to use them, we will use them. Because we will not surrender to Indian threats. You can pause it right there. FYI, India is number 6 in the most nuclear weapons with 172. Pakistan's number 7 with 170. They have the same amount of nuclear capabilities with what's going on here in India. Tom, your thoughts on this and how ugly this could get?
Well, I always get worried when war hawks in the United States are not like aghast at this. Which you have to remember, the Pakistan Air Force is the Chinese Air Force. China sells aircraft to Pakistan. We cooperate with India on defense things. So when India and Pakistan go at it, there are people in the U.S., specifically military-industrial complex, and the war hawks, they don't mind it. Because guess what we get to do? We get to test our stuff against China stuff because Pakistan's flying the China stuff. India's got basically U.S. stuff and stuff that they've built derivatively. And so we get to have a little test match. Do you see that? Yep. So in the mountains of Pakistan, Chinese jets fly over, anti-aircraft shoots them down, and we say, hey, that worked. That's a great test. So there's that going on, which sickens me when war hawks in the United States really see proxy wars as nothing more than test beds and economic opportunity for the U.S. military-industrial complex. That's my first point. That sickens me. The second point is I believe that China has irritated Pakistan and started this and got some rebels going, just like the Chinese CIA, you know, I believe they instigated. I believe China helped instigate this because there's cards being played. Remember, J.D. Vance, you were giving dates, Pat, and all you had to do is go back 2 more dates. There was another date, which was the date that J.D. Vance went over there and sat down, talked about a trade agreement. And then last week, who was on the Sunday shows, and he said, there's a deal going in Asia, and it's done, 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 done.
Well, Lutnick.
Lutnick said that, and everybody said, oh, he's talking, we think he's talking about India. And he says, is it India? And he said, no, the president will make the announcement at the right time. But you could tell they're enthusiastic. So India's getting momentum with not just Apple, but with U.S. on trade deal. They are the one big chess piece that can play on the chessboard with China when it comes to manufacturing. And it would be China's strategic advantage to instigate something with Pakistan and to get them going. And by the way, this doesn't stop here because Pakistan's going to get support from countries that regard, because of its Muslim faith, as brothers in arms. You attack me, you attack you, you're attacking me.
When we take it, here's my question, Tom, because it seems like it's escalating. It's not going to stop. And by the way, just to piggyback on Tom's point, the combat aircraft, Pat, the JF-17 Thunder, is a joint venture with Pakistan
plant.
and China. All right, and then the Chengdu J10C is another acquired from China, and then also what is it? Their air defense systems. The HQ-9BE is a high to medium altitude air defense system from China. So what I'm saying is,
China armed Pakistan.
Yeah, would we, because we're the world's police, do we get involved to help India in this situation if it escalates?
I think we would probably do it the same way we did it with Ukraine. Here's the good stuff. Go get them.
Got you. Okay, got you. Because Pat,
the way Biden did it with Ukraine?
Yeah.
Well, Biden, remember, originally didn't give them the good stuff.
Yeah, he gave them the whatever stuff. But here's my thing. We're talking about two nations that have nukes, and him saying that, like, oh, we got nukes. They're not just supposed to be sitting there. We want to use them. That's not.
You want to know what the craziest thing is, Rob? Can you go to the map? Go to the map there, like Russia, Pakistan, China. Just go to the map of that area. Watch this. Right, zoom in a little bit. So take a look at this. So you got China there. Zoom in a little bit if you could. You got China. Can you show where Pakistan is? You got China, you got India, you got Pakistan. Okay.
Pakistan borders Afghanistan and also Iran.
Yeah, Afghanistan, slightly Iran on the bottom. And then if you look above them, is who? Above them is who? Right there. What is that?
That's China, Mongolia, up there in Nepal.
To the left?
Kazakhstan?
To the left.
Okay, so now who's above all of that?
No,
right above it? Then you're going to what? Russia. Okay, so check this out. Do you know who gives 60% of the military supply to India? Russia.
Really?
60%. Do you know who buys 40% of Russia's oil supply while everybody is not doing business with Russia?
India.
India. So as weird as this is, China, you know, Putin and Xi have a relationship.
Yeah.
But Putin's not giving up the relationship with India. Putin's trying to play Switzerland. It's like, hey, guys, I want to be more on India's side than I want to be on Pakistan's side.
It's a big customer of Putin.
It's a big customer of Putin.
Wow.
Okay? So that's complex and a little bit, you know, to look at the dynamics because, you know, China's kind of like, well, I'm going to lean on Russia to take care of me. Well, no. And then China signed a 40-year lease at a port that's in Pakistan that they're leveraging and making a bunch of different investments that no matter what happens, good economy, bad economy, Pakistan has to pay China. The way they negotiated the deal, they have a chokehold on Pakistan is what they're doing. They have a chokehold on Pakistan. Strategically, why would they be doing this? Because they know there's a country that can take a lot of business away from them. And who is that? That's India. They don't like India. They do not like what's going on with India. So as much as I believe, my opinion, as much as I believe they're involved in the proxy war behind closed doors, they're also involved in the proxy war, hoping India doesn't attack their investment of $85 billion that they made into Pakistan. And guess what India knows? Oh, really? You want to do this? Guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be attacking the areas you don't want me to attack. It's a very nasty thing going on right now. If you think about it right now, this is a very similar situation to when Hamas attacked Israel October 7th. This is the Muslim terrorists. Rob, can you find a name so I can just say it correctly for the audience to see? And by the way, there are a lot of people that will disagree with us. A lot of people that will disagree with us. This is another one of those things where the tension is going to be high. Yeah, there it is. That's the name. And Lashkar-e-Taiba fueled the conflict, have significant tensions. Both Pakistani-based groups have been heavily implicated in attacks in India, Kashmir, leading to border skirmishes. And by the way, this kid is being interviewed in India. This kid. Watch what happens. This kid goes viral. Watch this interview. Young kid. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
Pakistan zindabad. Zindabad. Sharm nahi aa rahi.
Aren't you ashamed? Why should I be ashamed?
Pakistan ko khatam nahi karna chahiye.
Pakistan shouldn't be destroyed. It shouldn't
Bharat
be.
desh zindabad hai.
Long live India, yes or no?
Pakistan zindabad hai nahi. आपका नाम अपनी जगह पे सब जिंदाबाद आपका नाम क्या होगा तुम भी अपनी जगह पे जिंदाबाद आपका नाम क्या होगा कैफ कैफ पूरा नाम कैफ मोहम्मद कैफ कहाँ से हैं आप मैं बिहार से हूँ बिहार से आपको थोड़ी सी भी शर्म नहीं आ रही कि भारत देश में रहने के बावजूद आप पाकिस्तान का समर्थन कर रहे हो कि कैसे खत्म होगा पाकिस्तान अच्छा आप ये न्यूज बना रहे तो आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही कि क्या न्यूज बना रहे हो आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही है कि न्यूज बना के सबको फैला रहे हो हिंदू मुस्लिम के बारे में हिंदुस्तान का समर्थन क्यों करना आप पहले हमें जवाब दीजिए उसके बाद हम कुछ बोलेंगे तुम जो बोल रहे हो वहाँ भी आदमी है यहाँ भी आदमी है वहाँ भी मुस्लिम है वहाँ भी हिंदू है यहाँ भी हिंदू है सब तो है इंसान क्यों सबको खत्म करना पहले ये बताओ क्यों करना
Adam, your thoughts on this?
The India-Pakistan relationship, I would argue, is probably the most important geopolitical situation going on in the world today. We all understand that United States and China are in the midst of a trade war. We understand that. But I don't think we're going to see a hot war with the United States and China anytime soon, God willing. India, Pakistan, two nuclear powers. They're in both the top 10 nuclear arsenals in the world, I want to say.
6 and 7.
Okay, this thing can get ugly real quick. Real quick. So everyone's focused on these sort of land, power, religious border disputes that are happening all around the world. Namely, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, Armenia, Azerbaijan. None of that is as big as what could potentially happen between India and Pakistan. This thing can get real ugly, and it's been ugly decade after decade after decade. So if you're in America, why would you care? This is why I always sort of have an issue with the American isolationists. We shouldn't do anything. Forget about the rest of the world. Okay. Well, if India and Pakistan have a nuclear war, let me know how that works out for America and the rest of the world. So, by the way, look at the map of the world, by the way. Here's something to consider. If you cut the world in half, 50% of the landmass is on the Eastern Hemisphere. Also, 50% of the landmass is on the Western Hemisphere, okay? But do you know what percentage of the world population, people, are in the Eastern Hemisphere versus the Western Hemisphere? Do you know?
Do we have more?
No way. No, it's got to be 2 to 1.
They almost, Pat. They have 80% of the world population. 80% is in that side of the world. China, India, those are the two
Even
largest,
more, yeah.
Right? Russia, Pakistan, Iran, Saudi.
6.6 billion to 1.1 billion.
It's not even
6
close.
to 1.
So that side of the world, that's the old world. The West is the new world. So it could get real ugly real quick in that side of the world. Now, if you kind of scroll out, and this is sort of, a metaphor, they just had the NFL draft a week ago, right? All right. And Shador Sanders, where's he going? Who's going to be number one? All right. The guy from Miami. Okay. What's going on here? Right now, this is probably the first time since World War II, basically India and Pakistan were established right after World War II, much like most of these countries. The world is having a draft at this point. And at the team captains are the United States and China, essentially democracies versus autocrats. And everyone gets their picks. And United States has basically aligned themselves with the following countries. The United Kingdom, obviously, Japan, Germany, Israel, India, South Korea, Canada, Poland. Shout out to our friends in Poland. Whereas China has aligned with the following countries: Russia, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, Belarus, Turkey, and multiple Islamic countries. Now, what's the common theme here? One stands for democracies, one stands for autocrats. So we're having this clash at the border, specifically in Kashmir, between Hindu democracy versus a Muslim, we'll see, theocratic regime. We're going to see what happens.
By the way,
don't forget one last thing. Do you remember who the president or prime minister of Pakistan was? His name was Imran Khan. Do you remember this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where he is right now? He's in jail, I believe. He's like the Bolsonaro of...
He was a soccer player.
Oh, is that what he was?
I think so. I think he was a soccer player.
He's currently in jail right now. And under his regime, apparently, relations with Iran, with India were reaching the best they've seen in decades. But he's now in jail, and now this. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on here, and being in America, just keep your eyes out for
We're going to see what's going on. And one of the challenges with this is the fact that, he was a soccer player back in the days, cricket player back in the days. He was an athlete. So one of the things with this is the water challenge that they're having, the water deal between the two. There's a word for it. I think it's called the Indus Water Treaty that was signed many years ago, where they're sharing the water, and India's holding the water from Pakistan. Mm-hmm. And one of Pakistan's, I think it's 6. They have a breakdown of what are 6 things you could do to us that would prompt us using a nuclear bomb on you. One of the 6 is if you don't allow us to get the water, and they're calling this something that can prompt a nuclear war. And India is not releasing the water. So they're still hanging on to it and not allocating the water that they need to be. This is a speculation on the story. So obviously, you don't provide water, man. And what are you supposed to do as a, so it's complicated, but at the same time, you started the attack, I have to show strength.
Of course.
What was that all about? Why'd you do that? We have to show strength, and we can't sit there and, sympathize with why you're not getting this. You have to show power. That's what they're doing.
We talked about this yesterday, not to cut you off, Adam. We talked about, we throw away this world nuclear. Everybody, they always scared us about Putin and nukes and all that. That's BS. For that guy from Pakistan to sit there and say, it's not going to sit in a museum, we will use it. We talked about this yesterday. If they launch a nuke and India launches back, what do you think happened? It's not going to just be like, oh, they launched.
This is
it's
massive.
over, because then think about the proximity of China and everybody's launching,
It's
and
called
it's over.
mutual destruction.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
over.
wants this.
So I hope they're monitoring these freaking guys.
De-escalation.
By the way, you know what the president said? He says he's willing to go anywhere to make sure this gets stopped.
It has to be. Yeah,
He's willing to go anywhere to make sure this gets stopped.
PBD, I know you said this was complicated. When you say it's complicated, do you mean the mess, the situation? Do you mean geopolitical alliances? What's your take on
The history of it. I mean, this whole thing started off with Britain, where they have a pride of, hey, this is supposed to be ours. No, it's supposed to be ours. And majority of this area that was Muslim area, but the guy that was running it was a Hindu. They ended up giving it control for Hindu. It's a very complicated history that they have. But at the same time, look, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
And you just hope these guys they don't go to the next level. I think China is using their creative methods of, if it's not going to be COVID, you want me to create some disruption in the world? Maybe this is one of the ways. China sits there and says, you want to play this tariff war? You want a nuclear war? No, let me create a nuclear war. Wow. They are so creative on the ways. If there's anybody in the world, I'm from Iran. You would think Iran would be at the top of the list. China is above Iran for me on who I trust the least, because China controls Iran today.
Of course.
And so for us to see what's going to be happening, I think China's
the big boss.
They're the big boss.
They're pulling the strings.
They are.
One thing I just want to say from an American standpoint, where I've been following this story for 25 years now, and I learned about Pakistan. So what happened? So India and Pakistan, why did this happen? Oh, in 1948 they had a war, and 2 million people were crisscrossing countries and were killed. What? Because we talk the word genocide gets thrown out a little too loosely these days. There was a full-on genocide between Pakistan and India. Now, why did I start following this 25 years ago? Well, because after 9/11 in America, we started asking some questions. Who did what? What did who? Afghanistan? Is it Iraq? Weapons of mass destruction? Who's this guy, Osama bin Laden? What the hell here? And here's the point. Where did they find Osama bin Laden? Where was bin Laden been hiding? Well, he wasn't in Afghanistan. He was in Pakistan. And he was found 1 mile from a massive military base in Pakistan. Remember, SEAL Team 6 went in there. There it is right there. He was in a massive, apparent mansion, what they called it the Waziristan mansion. Now, here's what I do know. We talk about the intelligence communities. We talk about nuclear warheads. Both these countries, India and Pakistan, have a top 10 intelligence intelligent units all around the world. Obviously, CIA, MI6, KGB, whatever you want to call it. India and Pakistan have massive intelligence units. So either this intelligence unit in Pakistan was stunningly incompetent to not know that the world's most wanted terrorist was 1 mile away from a military base, or they just looked the other way and they were complicit. So the United States went in there, SEAL Team 6, and took out bin Laden. Do you think they informed the Pakistani government or not? The answer is hell no. They went in there, very cloak and dagger-esque, and since they took out bin Laden, the United States and Pakistan's, let's just say, relationship has been at an all-time low. I'm on Team India here just because they're our ally, and Pakistan has a lot of explaining to do.
Okay, all right. That was a good take to know if a Osama bin Laden feels safe being in Pakistan, what does that tell you about Pakistan? Period. Good point. All right, so let's go to the next thing here with Mark Carney, Rob, if you can pull it up. They had a meeting, Mark Carney from Canada, Prime Minister, who beat out the other candidate, I forget his name, Pierre Poilievre. who had a massive lead at the beginning of the year, who Mark
French
Carney
for
comes
loser.
and beat him pretty bad, in a very bad way. And he, rejected the idea, wanted to go on Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, all these other stuff, the Nelk Boys, ourselves, and, campaign managers ran by pompous-style way. But Mark Carney, see, that should have been Pierre sitting there. But Mark Carney got the seat because it takes a lot of work to get it, and you have to compete for it. Competition is real when you're campaigning, especially in countries like Canada. You can't be afraid of what the media is going to be saying. But if you are afraid of being what the media is going to be saying, you're going to lose to another guy that's going to sit there and do this. So Mark Carney's here with the president. And having a lot of conversations. Rob, what clips do you have? Do you have a few of them?
Yes, this is the first one. This is where Mark Carney says that Canada is not for sale, and then President Trump responds with never say never.
Do you have what he says prior to this? Do you have, matter of fact, can you do me a favor? Rather than going to clips, go online and find the entire interview, and I'll tell you where we go with this. Because just go to YouTube, Rob. If you go to YouTube, find the whole thing. You'll see, because the sequencing of the way he does it, it's a clinic on communication, folks. It's an absolute clinic. It's which one is it? We're not going to watch a whole thing, but you can click on any one of them. Let's go to that one. Okay. So if you watch this thing at the beginning where he's giving him compliments, okay, if you can make it a little bit bigger, he's giving him compliments at the beginning. Go ahead and play it. Fast forward a little bit.
Thank you very much, everybody.
watch this.
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada. And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take full credit. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning. So I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics. Maybe even greater than mine.
Bingo. Trump will not say stuff
But I
like
want
that.
to just congratulate you. That was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person.
Interesting.
Because we spoke
would he
before
say
the
that?
election
Listen.
quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. We handle it with great love. And 24-karat gold, that always helps. It's been a lot of fun going over some of
Do me a
the
favor. Fast forward
beautiful pictures that
a
we
little bit
stored in
until
the
he
wall.
gets to the point. Just pause it right there. Let's see if that's the part.
What the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news we just found
Fast
out
forward.
about. Various seas.
Fast forward.
We can still announcement to make, like as big as it gets, and I won't tell you on what. But it's going to, and it's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive. And that announcement.
Fast forward. They gets to place where, see if that's the part where he's talking. See if that's the part where he's explaining. Click on it. Let's see if this is the part.
When he wasn't given much of a chance, and he ran a really great campaign. He did a really great debate. I think that debate was very helpful.
Listen. So he's building them up.
I was going to raise my hand. I don't know if that's good or bad. I shouldn't say that. That might hurt you. But no, he ran a really great election, I thought. And yeah, something could happen. Something could happen. Yeah, please.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And no, I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, how good, the great one.
Oh, yeah.
You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of. He is a big, tough cookie too. He just broke the record, and he's a great guy. And we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister.
Fast forward a little bit when he starts talking about real estate, because is that the part? Let's see if that's the part.
Just a straight line right across the top of the country.
That's the part.
I'm a real estate tax cut.
Wow, go back a little bit. Watch this. To his face, look what he says. Go back a little bit more.
You get free military.
Go back a little bit more.
2 to tango, right?
Go back a little bit more. Watch this. Watch this. This is the part. He says it to
No.
Carney.
Well, I still believe that, but takes 2 to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, it's, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it's it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Watch.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
It means the people.
But
Canada.
the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military.
Rob, you can now pause and go to that clip that you had when he says never say never. Watch this.
They get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places
that's not
that,
it, Rob. That's the one. We just watched it. It's the one that says never
we're
say
sitting
never.
in one right now.
Maybe fast forward.
And I'll say this as
Keep
well.
Keep going.
That the president.
We literally just watched this.
It's right at the end here.
And Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never.
There you
never
go.
say never.
Never. He just said never, never.
So, Tom, your thoughts on this?
First of all, Carney is here because he has to be, because the campaigning is over. All the picking on Trump and all the picking on things is over. Suddenly he's over here. Something he also said in an interview later yesterday, where he said he's a transformational president focused on the economy with a relentless focus on the American workers, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. So suddenly Carney becomes the PR guy for President Trump. That's what that sounds like. But why is he doing that? Because the election is over and now it's time to do deals, and Carney needs a trade deal, and Carney needs cooperation, and Carney needs President Trump to take his foot off the tariff pedal because it's working. And so now he's coming down here trying the best he can to say, well, we're not for sale. But in the meantime, calling Trump a transformational president. That's what we're seeing here. Election's over. It's time to deal. And so who does he come? I'm coming to your house, and I'm coming soon, and I need to talk to you.
Adam.
Look, the relationship with Canada and the United States is arguably our most important relationship in the world. Strategically, militarily, economically, domestically. I mean, they're our neighbors. So, yeah, the China relationship with the United States is probably the most important to manage, but they're not our friend. They're not our ally. They're our competitor, and you could use a different word to describe what we got going on with them. But we don't need to have issues with Canada. Now, at the same time, let's recognize we are the big brother. They are the little brother. And they should respect the fact of what we do for them, especially militarily. The one thing where I don't want to upset PBD, but you did notice what Trump said. He said, a lot of people think that you have me to thank for this election, for you winning, Mark Carney. So I understand that Pierre Poilievre royally screwed up, but he also was running against not only just Mark Carney, he was also running against Trump, in my opinion. And He should have managed it better, Pierre Poilievre. He should have done what he needed to do. He should have campaigned better. He should have gotten off his lazy ass and gone on these podcasts. But not only fighting against Carney, fighting against Trump is, I think, the reason that Pierre Poilievre lost.
That's 100% on Pierre Poilievre. Because if you don't,
doubling down,
if you don't know how to handle Trump because you are so afraid of the liberal media and what Canadians think about Trump, you're not a change agent. You're just the same as usual, boring candidate that comes up and acts tough and says what he says. And here's a clip, by the way. Tuesday we do a podcast. In the afternoon, this clip circulates. Okay, Rogan doing a pod, and he asks him about Pierre Poilievre. Look at this clip here. Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip.
Kind of reminds me of what happened in Canada with the truckers.
Yes.
I mean, they froze their bank accounts.
Yeah.
Or people who donated to them.
Yeah. People who donated to them got their bank accounts frozen.
How insane.
Insane. Insane. And then that same party just won again. Good job, Canada.
Yeah.
If they didn't have good bear hunting, I would never go there.
I do have to say, I offered to have that Pierre guy come on the podcast.
Really?
He didn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Thought it was too problematic. Or whatever. Jordan told me, I forget what he said, but they were telling him not to do it. Like his advisors.
Does he mean Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
What?
Like, hey,
If
dumbass.
they can't talk to you,
Jordan Farmer, the point guard?
So funny.
UCLA.
Yeah. So
he said that Jordan Peterson, correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan Peterson was the one that advised him not to go on Rogan?
No, I thought it was a country of Jordan.
No.
Jordan called him.
Jordan said his advisors told
somebody
him not
from
to
Joe's
do it.
team
Yeah,
has a
not
guy named
Jordan
Jordan.
Peterson
No.
told. So
Okay, gotcha.
because
I wanna
Jordan
clarify that.
Peterson had my interpretation, my
Yes.
English is my fifth language, but my interpretation, Pierre's been on Jordan Peterson 3 times, maybe 4 times.
Yes.
So Joe asks Jordan, hey, can you ask Pierre to come?
Yeah.
Asked Jordan. Jordan asked Pierre's camp. Pierre's camp says, his advisor said they don't think it's a good idea for Pierre to get on Rogan. So it's got
Obviously,
nothing-
that was ridiculous.
because
Can I
it's-
say one thing
because
about
it's
Jordan?
problematic.
Jordan
What the hell does that
Peterson has
mean?
been on Rogan how many times? I don't know if you can find out.
Many times.
Okay,
No,
so if
many times.
Jordan Peterson is Canadian, he's respected. We all respect what Jordan Peterson has done. If I'm Jordan Peterson and I'm a sort of a strategist, if I have a direct phone call to Pierre or his team, I would say the following: listen, guy, get your ass on Rogan immediately and start doing the podcast rounds. Jordan Peterson's a smart guy. I have no idea why he didn't just say, listen, get down to Rogan now. I've done Rogan. What is going on Joe Rogan? What has that done for Jordan Peterson's career? Has that helped or hurt his career?
Obviously.
Obviously, it's helped. So just look at the template here. Look at the case example. Is it 10 times? How many? 8 times.
So let me ask you a question
okay.
then.
So he goes 8 times and you go 0? Makes no
then
sense.
here's my question then. Maybe, 'cause this is a possibility, the people that were around Pierre were actually against him. Because nobody in their right mind, hold on a
All right,
second.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Adam, okay, make the case for me how somebody, in a normal person with a regular working brain would be like, nah, going on the most popular podcast in the history of the world, still happening, would be a bad idea. Go ahead. Try to explain that to me.
Well,
it doesn't make.
Can you do me a favor?
What you're saying
Can you
is-
do me a favor and pull up the clip I sent you by Doug Ford that says he used a terrible campaign manager and he should have used the one that I told him about. Do you have that clip that I sent you? If you want me to, I'll text it to you. I have it here. So this was said 3 weeks ago. Okay,
I have it.
You have it? Can you play that clip? I'll just text it to you as well if you could. So now some people are blaming the campaign manager. We talked about it on Tuesday, and I told you guys that Ford said this, and I found the clip. Here's a clip if you can play it. Go for it.
You know, something as for Corey, I've said right from day one, he's tough as nails, but he's the best campaign manager in the country. And to be very frank, if Corey was running that campaign, I don't think Mr. Poilievre would be in the position he's in right now. But it's still a lot of time left. We still have debates. At the end of the day, the people will decide which way they want this country
So
to
3
move
weeks
forward.
ago,
But
he is
sometimes
saying
the truth.
You can pause it.
Yeah.
He is saying that the campaign manager is the reason why it happened. But anyways, regardless of it, let's go back to Carney. The fact that this conversation is happening, Carney was able to manage Trump in a better way. I do believe they had a conversation together. What's the first time they spoke, by the way? When Trump all of a sudden started supporting him. When was the first time that Trump started being complimentary about about Carney and taking shots at Polyev, at Pierre. Okay, when was the first time that took place? Because if you think about the timing there, to a guy like Trump, he's sitting there saying, "What is wrong with you, Pierre? I try to work with you. I try to do something with you. You're not being diplomatic. This is who I have to deal with. And Carney is easier for me to deal with than you." I think that's when you realize there's some issues. I want to say this was a few weeks ago. This could have been 4 to 6 weeks ago when it happened. It's not May 6th. This was 4 to 6 weeks, 6 weeks ago when the conversation took place. And, he said 51st and Polyev, and, Trump was critical of Polyev. And then it led to what it is, which means Polyev doesn't know how to handle a guy like Trump. And, again, you're not fit to be an executive. You're fit to be a person that's going to have to ask another person to step down to get a parliament job after having been in that business since you were 24, 25 years old. Superstar, great speaker, great motivational speaker. This looks very good on camera, beautiful wife, good-looking guy, but not a winner.
Do you think that Pierre Polyev, like if you can compare him to someone in America running an election, in my opinion, would you compare him to someone like a Ron DeSantis?
Guaranteed.
Really?
Very, very similar styles.
Okay. Explain that. Unpack
Both
that.
feel like they belong there, and it's automatic without having to work for it. Look, let's be fair. The governor eventually ended up coming on a podcast here, and it was the most viewed podcast he did out of everybody.
Was
because,
it really? I believe it.
It was everybody reacted to it in the marketplace. It doesn't matter. Fallon, Kimmel, The View, everybody. You call it good or bad. It doesn't matter. They react. It doesn't matter. It was his opportunity to show the lighter side of him.
Yep.
The same way where everybody said Trump's hair is fake, and he went on Fallon or Kimmel and he allowed him to play with it, and he was on his way to Rhode Island. This was a moment for him to be human. He missed it.
Yeah.
So, but very similar styles. The difference is DeSantis eventually went and talked to everybody.
Yeah.
He did not. DeSantis eventually went and talked to Kelly, everybody. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I would say moments of it was similar to DeSantis, but at least eventually they made the pivot.
Yeah.
Pierre never made the pivot.
And don't forget, DeSantis actually went and got his job back as governor of the great state of Florida.
And now maybe his wife may be running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas Pierre Polyev lost not only the election, lost his seat and had to give like a re-gift, a concession seat.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the next story here on what's going on. So the story I want to go to is, let me see which story I want to go to right now. Let's go to Doug Burgum. Doug Burgum warns of real energy emergency that will permit China to dominate us. If you can play this clip, Rob, I do know you have a clip on this. So Interior Secretary Doug Burgum warned on Fox Business Kudlow that the real energy emergency that we have right now is that we don't have enough energy in this country. Is that the clip, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency, and rightfully so, because we're under threat from China related to critical minerals. We've got huge challenges on electrical power generation. We saw what happened this past week in Spain. That could be happening in America yet even this summer because the Biden administration rules put our grid at such risk. But then in terms of oil and natural gas, which helps us power our economy, and again, right here on the Gulf Coast, selling energy to our friends and allies, all this natural gas that's going around the world to help displace energy that was coming from our adversaries.
A total unabashed embrace of energy dominance in the world. There's no apologizing for it. And, of course, you meet with all these guys that work on the oil rig.
Rob, you can pause that. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, the Department of Energy is not a sexy department. It's not like Secretary of State going out there on these trade deals and things like that. But you know what? Doug Burgum is doing a job for America right now, and both sides know it, but only one side will admit it. Because what has happened with EVs and with data centers is he's right. We have an energy shortage in America. Despite solar panels and wind farms and things that have done, we have an energy shortage in America. This is why Google is trying to get permits for its own micro nukes to supply data centers. It's why Oracle is trying to do the same thing to get permits. And Doug is out there just absolutely, I think he could be, you know what? He could be like the MVP runner-up in the administration this year. I say that because the MVP is going to be whoever figures out all the trade deals and all the tariffs and things coming back. And, of course, the market's already back up from where it was on April 1st, so we're on our way back in a big way for people that not lost, but saw their 401ks go down. Now they're back up. See, that didn't take long. But right now I want to show you something. I sent this to the World Nuclear Association, put out their report for Q1 on March 25th. So this is fresh data. Scroll down to the bottom of that, all the way down, and you will see in the world, so the world right now, there are 66 nuclear reactors under construction, 85 planned, and 344 proposed. So just remember that.
Okay.
China has 30 under construction, 36 planned, and 158 proposed. 45% of the nuclear power coming in the world is coming out of China. Now let's go down there. We're fighting with China. Scroll down and find the United States. That's Rob, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 13 proposed. That's why Google and Oracle are trying to get permits for micro reactors because they're not getting help from the infrastructure power grid and the Department of Energy. So do you remember, Vinny, too, here's an easy one.
Okay.
A great question.
Tom, don't go crazy numbers, but go ahead.
Okay, no numbers. But do you remember when everybody was upset about TikTok in China? Why was that? Where were the servers and where do they think the data was going?
You did it again, Tom. I don't know. Did you know?
The people thought the data from TikTok was going back to China.
Okay.
So if you thought that was a problem, what about if we can't build the big data centers here? And the data centers are built around the world where we can't really exert control and secure them. That means America is using cloud services and the data centers might be elsewhere. It is a national security imperative that big data servers are built here, just like we're trying to help Taiwan Semi build those plants in Arizona so the chips can be here. And if China makes a move on Taiwan, we saw the chart that there's a bunch of that's here. And right now we're in a position where all we need is about 2.5 years. All we need is about 2.5 years for those chip plants. So at the end of Trump's second term, if those chip plants are built, one of the things that Donald Trump can put a big W on the scoreboard is he moved so much chip manufacturing to the U.S. from Taiwan to neutralize that China threat. Well, Doug Burgum, God bless you, I'm a big fan for real reasons, and he's out there talking about this, saying we have an energy crisis, and he's right. We need to get permits. This is not 3 Mile Island nukes. These are new technology, smaller footprint nukes, but this is what we need. And look at this. Thanks to the Greens and thanks to other lobbying, we have 13 proposed in the United States. And China, watch out, gang, is building 40% of the nuclear power currently being built and proposed in the world is being built in China.
Why aren't we? So those 13 proposed. Why aren't they pulling the trigger right now? Trump is in charge.
Well, I think that's exactly what's happening. They got to get Congress behind them. But Doug Burgum is out there banging the drum, saying, "Hey, we got to get going."
Okay.
Better than the drums and the cheerleader, Tom.
That's the Fed.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's Jerome Powell's job. So I'm glad that you caught on to how great Doug Burgum actually is. I was on to this guy.
I will interrupt you and say you were behind Doug at the beginning of the campaign.
I was, and I'm so glad to see that Doug Burgum is part of the Trump administration. We saw him at the inauguration or at CPAC. He's awesome. Dude, he was one killer crossover away from maybe being president. You remember during the election, this guy was in an ankle braces. One of his staff crossed him over and almost dunked on him, and that lost his chances. But he showed up. You got to give Doug a best friend a hug, no doubt. But here's the deal. He's the Secretary of the Interior. What does that even mean? Secretary of the Interior. I'll tell you what it means. Here's what he's in charge of: natural resources, public lands, and water. You notice when he said that statement about what he's talking about with China, why we need to compete, he said the following: we have to compete with the electric power grid, oil and natural gas, and minerals. How many times have we heard those phrases with Ukraine, with China, with Russia, with Greenland? We're going to make Greenland great again. Doug is very much a part of what's going on with that. He's smart, he's accomplished, but the most important thing why I like him, He's relatable. He's a good dude. He's a businessman. He's made a ton of money, and he was the governor of North Dakota. And I'm glad that he's part of the Trump administration. And if you remember one thing about when Trump came to office, when he was, I think, being interviewed by Hannity, he said, yeah, I'm going to be a dictator on day one. What were the two things he said? Number one, we're going to shut down the border. And number two, we're going to drill, baby, drill. So Doug's in charge of that right now.
Yeah, but when you think about the nuclear plants in America, Rob, if you go and type in history of nuclear plants and how many we've built since Chernobyl, if you just type it in, there'll be a chart that'll come up. And when you see what happened and where we compare to others, Statista has a great stat on this of where we were at against them, because we stopped building. Oh, right there. The go to the right. Go back to where you were at, Rob. Oh man, go to that one more down right there. The one on the yellow left. Click on that, and zoom in. I think this is the one that shows how little we built. Now go a little bit low. Okay, it's right there. Zoom in. Is that the one that's shown by countries? Reactor startups and shutdowns in the world in units. Okay, so that's exactly what you want to find, except you want to find which one of them shut down in America. So reactor startups and shutdowns in the world, just copy paste that in, and you will see America fully stopped, and others continued, and we fell behind in a big way. I don't know which one it is, but there's definitely one of them that shows the chart. Is that the one, Rob, on what America looks like? Texted Brandon to see if I have it here. Is this the one? Other countries, China. Okay, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one, Rob. If you have it, he sent it to us.
Got it.
If you can pull it up. Do you have it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what shows who construction starts of nuclear reactors in the world. Okay. See where it says other countries? A lot of that is us. And look at how China doesn't start anything until 84, 85. Do you see how small they are? Mm-hmm. And then now look at the last 20 years where China is, okay? Look how many they're building. Just in 2010, they're building 10. The rest of the world is building 5. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. So if you go look at the following year, the rest of the world in 2012 is building 2. They're building 3, okay? If you look at the last couple of years, 21, 22, 23, out of the 10 that we did in 21 and 22, guess what? 21 and 22, 6 is China, 4 is the rest of the world, 5 is China, 5 is the rest of the world. And in 2023, new nuclear reactors being built, China is 5. The rest of the world, 195 countries, is 1. One is thinking long term, the other ones are not. Now, part of this could be regulatory. Part of this could be that regulation to build one in America is so complicated that it takes years to get approval to build something like this. Part of it could be the fear. Part of it could be when you hear the word nuclear, what do you think about?
Chernobyl.
3 Mile Island, Chernobyl.
That's right. That's what you think of. Never again will we do. It's going to blow up. It's going to do this. It's going to be. They're like, no, we have to go in this direction because the world needs power. So this could be another thing. What Tom talked about is very important. This could be another thing that America and other countries can rely on them for nuclear power when there is no more energy left. Adam, your thoughts?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to give a shout out to this one guy, Rob. I sent you this picture. This one guy actually taught me this very recently, and it was none other than Patrick Bet-David, because you just did an entire episode about Pakistan and India and nuclear arsenals. But the top of the Statista graphic is China is expanding their nuclear arsenal. Number 1 is Russia. Number 2 is the United States. But number 3 is China. And since 2023, so the last 2 years, they're plus 90 in their nuclear arsenal, whereas Russia is minus 109.
This is different, though.
Okay, explain the difference.
No. This is arsenal.
Okay.
I'm not talking arsenal. I'm talking nuclear energy. We're like, you know how we're doing in America? We do. What are the different types of energy to get? You know how they do the
solar,
windmill.
Solar,
okay, those are extremely problematic. You got solar. You got all these other ways. One of the cheapest and most effective ways of doing is nuclear energy. Google's going that direction. Amazon's going that direction. These big companies are starting to realize How the hell am I going to be able to host and do all the stuff that I'm doing with different businesses that I'm running? I need nuclear power. That's what I need. Is that America, by the way, what you just showed up, Rob?
Yes.
Oh, pull that up. That's what's scary about it. Because of regulation, look at this. Look how many nuclear power capacity additions we had by year. Look at 70. Look at 71, 72, 6, 73, 4, 75, and 9. We kept building them, and then after 84, 85, Chernobyl, what happens? Goes all the way down to 0, 1, 0, 1. From 96 till 2015, it's 0. From 96 till today, it's 0. 2023, it's 0.
Okay.
So
this explains things a little bit better because I think I just made a mistake that many Americans make. You associate nuclear.
What just happened
with
was
weaponry.
so perfect. It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so perfect because that's how I went the first.
Yeah.
This is not my specialty. This is not what I know about. But I do know when you're sitting there as a company, you're like, hey, how much do we have to pay with hosting for this? How much do we have to? So imagine now, add that to Google. Add that to Google on how many videos and all. You need energy. You need a. Think about crypto. Crypto, Bitcoin is ran on what? Energy. The energy that you need. The cleanest energy. By the way, look at this. The cleanest energy is who? Nuclear.
Interesting.
Then it's geothermal. Then it's natural gas. Then it's hydropower. Then it's coal. Then it's wind. Then it's solar.
Wow.
But we've been afraid to go there
Yeah.
because people still are uncomfortable with the word nuclear.
Well,
Tom, you look
it's
like
a
you want to
dirty
say
word,
something.
and
I
it
looked up
shouldn't be.
something else. Can we go back to that chart that we just talked about by year?
This one?
Yes. What year was the Arab oil embargo?
What year was it?
1979
It
under
was under
Jimmy
Carter, right? Yeah.
Reagan was elected in 80, reelected in 84, Bush in 88, and they made alternative energy a priority after the Arab oil embargo in 1979. And take a look at that. So when there was a crisis, America did turn to nuclear as an alternative power source. And now we're coming on another crisis, and I think the crisis is bigger. I think it's data security, and I think it's having data centers in the U.S. where we have enough power and bringing all of that home.
Yeah, so this is very, very important long term, and what Tom showed, that what China is doing versus the rest of the world, it's concerning. I'm glad Doug Burgum is in there to help out with this because it's very important for everyone else. All right, let me get to the next story here. Next story I want to go to is who is John Bryan? Very interesting what James O'Keefe just dropped, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. John Bryan, Royal Family Aide, which they call him the fixer. I don't know why they call him the fixer, but they call him the Royal Family Fixer. He would fix a lot of different things for them. Allegedly claims Prince Andrew had sex with minors. Okay? And when let me read the story here. 3, 4. Okay. So Prince Andrew is under fresh scrutiny after his former advisor John Bryan was secretly filmed claiming that the Duke of York had sex with underage girls connected to Epstein. The video released by journalist James O'Keefe shows Bryan saying Prince Andrew lied to him about his ties to Epstein and his actions. The video comes just a few days after Virginia Giuffre, who accused Epstein and Prince Andrew of abuse, was found dead on April 25th. Her death was reported as a suicide, but her father, Sky Roberts, has publicly disputed this, saying there's no way that she did. Somebody got to her. John Bryan, an American businessman, became widely known in the 1990s for his close relationship with Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. He had close ties to Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana and was part of the royal family's inner circle. Rob, go and play this clip.
Do you want the entire...
Go to the main parts, Rob.
I have that isolated.
Okay,
right
go
here.
for it.
I'm for other girls. I was so pissed about that. I was really pissed. I was really pissed because he lied to me about it.
Lied about
Epstein. Yeah. No, I knew he saw him. But he lied to me that he was such a close friend. I was so pissed. And then I did a big thing in the Daily Mail saying that I believed Andrew. And then I found out he was lying. I was so pissed. No, that he was f***ing underage girls.
Girls, That's not cool. Wow. Do you have another clip, Rob, or is that the main one?
That's the main clip from the entire segment.
Okay, Vinny, thoughts?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, everybody knew about the what he was doing with Virginia Giuffre, which I'm gonna bring up here. But it just look at all the timing. Okay, so James O'Keefe, which we were talking about him before the podcast. I think he's one of the most important, hardworking. All the freaking videos, all the Project Veritas videos of him catching people saying all this stuff on camera, and not, like some people step down, Tom, but nobody goes to nobody. Especially a lot of the stuff was happening under Biden, but he's been around since the Acorn thing that he did with Andrew Breitbart. But it's weird because he teases that he's going dark and he's going to bring up a bunch of this stuff. Apparently, is going to be coming out, and then yesterday, Pam Bondi comes out and she confirms that the FBI has tens of thousands of Epstein videos with kids doing God knows what. Is this the clip right here, Robbie? Can we play this one?
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims, and no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Okay, so diligently going through, guys, tens of so that means, Adam, they have on camera, which we know that they've had them. So, and mind you, that means the Biden administration hid apparently 14 terabytes of child torture and whatever the hell that they're going through. That means they knew about it. Okay, they knew about it. They covered it up. They didn't say anything. So you mean to tell me that they have all this footage? They see these children. Okay, I don't want to expose the victims, but you see these people that have been doing this stuff, and what? They're still walking around. If you have probable cause, Tom, if a cop smells marijuana in your car, they get to come in and they get to grab your ass, and that's it. That's probable cause. You have footage that you guys have been monitoring and going through that's tens of thousands of hours with actual child rapists, and those people are still walking around. How do you not know that they're doing it, Tom? And I believe that nothing is going to happen. And then O'Keefe drops his video. He does this, and isn't this random? How random is this? We find out about the Prince Andrew and his fixer talking all this crap, and then Virginia Giuffre, the biggest victim that came out, the public victim, she suicides herself. Am I the only one that's seeing this weird pattern of all this stuff? And by the way, I don't see any of it. Nothing is going to happen because Pam Bondi was the attorney general in Florida while Epstein was doing all this stuff. She had the power and the position to go after him back then, but she didn't. So we're just going to they're going to keep dangling this, we're looking, we're going to get him. 4 years is going to go by, Pan. In my opinion, nothing is going to happen. And she's talking about these victims that she doesn't want to expose. None of them are going to get justice, Tom. None of them. That's the truth. And Pat, I have to give him a shout out. He made what he's doing, what James O'Keefe's doing, guys, and he doesn't make mainstream news. His stuff is all on X. But what he says here about what he's doing, and if the price isn't your life, then you're for sale. And I think all those people are for sale. Can we play this clip?
Go
Pat?
for it.
Is it 10 million? Is it 20 million? Is it 100 million? What is your price? Because if your price is not your life, then you are for sale. If your price is not your life, then you are for sale. So, if you're going to be a truth teller, your price has to be your life. I can't surround myself with people whose price is not their life. Because the enemy, whatever the enemy is, whether it be physical, legal, spiritual, will attack the vulnerability of the person who can be compromised. So you get real spiritual real fast if you're going to do this type of work.
And he's out there. And by the way, that's the first video that he has. He has multiple videos of people exposing this stuff that are these freaking demons. And the only person that's going to hold them accountable is God, because we're not going to do it here.
Adam.
Well, shout out to James O'Keefe. You know, we meet a lot of people doing what we do here, and I would say that since the day one where we had him on, when he had his book that he just came out with, it was like Muckraker. I was like, oh, I like this guy. And we kept in touch and we hang out. He's a good buddy, but I know he's not necessarily doing Project Veritas right now. He's doing
Although this
O'Keefe
was a
Media
collaboration
Group.
between the two.
We're going to figure out what that means. But shout out to O'Keefe. This is a guy who, I mean, literally probably has to sleep with one eye open for what he does on a daily basis. But man, he does good work. Now, this guy, John Bryan, his job is being a fixer. Now, I'm thinking, where have I heard this term fixer before? Yeah, you've heard it. You ever see the movie Pulp Fiction? When
Harvey
the guy,
Keitel.
Harvey Keitel shows up, he's
The
Winston
Wolf.
Wolf. And he goes, what are you doing here? Oh, me? Don't worry about that. Do what I got to say. What do? I solve problems. And that's what he does. So when you hear the word fixer, think of the following things. They're problem solvers. They're also spin doctors. They also are sort of cleanup experts. If you saw Pulp Fiction, they had to clean up that mess in the car, if you know what I'm saying. Crisis management, damage control, discrete solutions, PR strategists, and reputation manager is what he does. Who utilizes people like this? Well, obviously royalty, politicians, high net worth individuals, CEOs, athletes, celebrities. And why do they use these people? Because they made an oopsie and they got to clean it up.
But what?
So we've seen Michael Clayton. I think that was
One of my
Clooney.
favorites.
We've seen Ray Donovan, Liev Shriver. We've seen in real life who was a fixer, who was Trump's fixer back in the day, a guy named Michael Cohen. And then we saw where that relationship went.
Right.
Both of them.
Well, yeah, Michael, yeah, you're right.
So, bottom line here, I agree with Vinny. Prince Andrew was up to no good, and he hired this fixer to clean up his mess. And now the fixer got caught on camera.
But isn't it? It's insane to me that. And Tom, I know you got to say something. It's besides him saying, besides the fixer and all this stuff that we already knew. Imagine how powerful these freaking pedophiles are that it's getting slow walked, and we're gonna promise you, and it's gonna come. Cash Patel right now was just in front of who's the Kennedy, the older congressman. He's like, yeah, we're just taking
John
our
Kennedy?
time. Yeah, we're taking our time.
From
We're gonna
Louisiana?
release it. And it seems to me like the most powerful people to where even the president cannot just release it. They can't release it. They're in the most powerful positions in our government and in the world, because Prince Andrew, this guy, Pat. So mind you, she said Virginia Griffey said that he slept with her multiple times, and then that there was multiple girls in there where he was going back to back to back to back. And this guy's admitting on camera, which he doesn't know that he's on camera. He's like, oh, he was sleeping with multiple underage girls. And what's going to happen to Prince Andrew? That's an indictment. He's saying, he's giving you proof. This guy's not lying. He doesn't even know he's on camera. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
What is this part with Senator Kennedy?
Is this today, Rob?
Yes, this was posted 15 minutes ago on Twitter.
Play this.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him?
Uh-oh.
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the
hanged,
Metropolitan Detention Center.
Really?
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Not near future. What a vague.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as
Hold on. He's the same guy that said on day one, I was going to shut down the J. Edgar Hoover building and do all this nonsense. And now it's saying in the near future. I don't believe it.
Well,
all right?
because let me tell you something.
Don't make promises, Adam, because it's for a fact. Leave the victims out. I don't want to hear one victim's name. If you're looking at footage with your eyes of grown men raping young underage women, arrest them. Go get them. How do you know that they're not still doing it right now? Because, by the way, Epstein's Island was closed, Tom. Those guys, pedophiles, that urge doesn't take a vacation. They're still out there doing it. Okay? They're making more victims while they're going to, in the near future, we're going to slow walk it. That's horseshit. Sorry for my language.
Can I tell you what happened? Listen, as I always say.
Wait.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Rob, do you have that clip?
Yes.
Okay.
Nuts.
You have it right there, by the way. You have it right
here?
there. Yeah. I think that's the one. Can you play that?
Declassification office, whatever you want to call it, transparency, truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. Remember the Lovebirds text from, this is a beauty. The Lovebirds text from FBI,
is this
DOJ,
about
Land,
day
Russiagate,
one?
Strzok and Page were texting.
Yes, I believe he says it somewhere in this clip. It's just a 2-minute and 21 second
going.
clip.
Each other, who they were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI. And they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those.
10 seconds.
But it gets even better.
Keep
Here's
going.
the deep state full circle. Just last week,
Fast forward.
iPhones. And the DOJ just rewarded them.
Fast forward.
Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. Don't have me regurgitate it to you. Read it. Get the documents, get the files, get the memos. But the deep state came full circle and gave these guys a payday for rigging a presidential election and breaking the law.
No, this isn't it, Rob. There's one that he says on
day one, I'm going to shut down the Hoover building, right? And turn it into a museum.
See if this is the one that you have in text. See if that's the one or it's the same exact one as the other one. Is that the same exact?
I think that's the same one.
Yeah, but there was a.
And which one was it? That he's going to shut down the Hoover building back?
Yeah.
I remember that. And all of them gave us these
Is that the one?
promises, and it's not being kept. And it drives me freaking bananas.
Well, Adam, what are we going to say? And he's going to look for it.
Well, look, as I always say, you have to campaign in poetry and govern in prose.
Yeah.
Now, what does that actually mean in this regard? When you're vying for a job, whether it's President of the United States, whether it's the head of the FBI, whether that's any sort of political task that you're looking to do, you're going to say things that are going to trigger people's emotions. You're going to rile people up. You're going to, sell them the dream. You're going to maybe even sell them the nightmare. You're going to make promises that maybe you can't keep sometimes. Because sometimes when you actually get the job, you actually have to govern, or you actually have to go through the practical execution of the job, or reality slaps you in the face. So in my opinion, I know nothing about what's going on here. Cash has all these things. When I get there, we're going to shut down the FBI. Jay, this is what I'm going to do. And then he gets the job and he sits at the desk and they go, do you want to know what's really going on, buddy? Because you've never sat in this seat. And he has his people that he trusts and he goes, okay, yeah. Well, here's what's going on. And he's going to say...
There's a montage of him saying day one.
Play this.
And he's going to say this. Can I finish this? He's going to say, holy crap. I had no idea that was what's going on. Turns out maybe I shouldn't say what I thought I was going to say.
If your price isn't your life, then you're for sale. Because guess what? I don't give a shit, Adam. When it comes to kids and rape and no.
I'm just saying that's easy for you to say.
No, it's not easy for me to say because I'm not going to talk about it and not
the
be
Wizard
about
of
it.
Oz, when you go behind that curtain and you're like, damn.
I don't care.
And someone says,
no.
Hold on. If you say
the
this.
clip, Rob.
Yeah. No, Adam, when it
Play
comes
the
to
clip,
kids,
Rob.
I don't play that shit.
Well,
This is more than just kids, though.
Play the clip, Rob.
Well, the Epstein Black Book, like on day one.
On day one, roll out the Black Book.
Where is it?
So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past.
Can you do me a favor and go back to the interview with him and Kennedy? The other Kennedy? Yeah, go back and...
Senator John Kennedy,
the one you just played, Rob.
Right there.
Play that one more time. And this is when? This is today?
I believe this was yesterday. It was just posted about 22 minutes ago.
Go for it.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production.
What does that mean?
Yo, what is information that's irrelevant?
That's the point.
Go to
That's
the
when you go
Blaze one.
behind the curtain. You're like, oh.
Go to the Blaze one, Rob. The Blaze, the other one that you have. Go to the Blaze one, and then this is me leading into something else.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just play the Blaze one that the guys just sent, Glenn Beck, yeah, that one.
Has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
That's him.
Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out.
What's the date of that, Rob?
Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding.
November
from the DOJ and
11th.
FBI
I'm sorry,
for
November
programs.
30th, 2024.
And if you
So
don't
before
cooperate,
he was
you're not
confirmed.
getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a black book. Or the
So, but
manifesto.
the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the black book.
Pat, can
And
I
not
ask
just
you?
that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuous.
Government gangster.
It's been over 3 months, so nothing has happened.
Well,
to
so
date.
I don't want to speculate. I want to ask Pat your opinion because this is something you probably studied way more than me. November, we're rolling it out. Day one, this is what's happening. Now, he got confirmed, I believe, in February. He's one of the closest confirmations ever, 51-49. I think it was 2 Republican senators that were like, no. And finally got confirmed. What goes through someone like Cash's mind when they actually peel the curtain back and they go, oh, let me walk this back a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, so to me, it's only 2 reasons why they're not releasing this. Okay, it's only 2. I don't see a third. Tom, you're a pretty technical guy. I know.
Well, there's
no. Hang on. Let me say my thoughts. So
sorry.
Yeah, there's only 2 reasons why this is happening. One is because somebody on the team is on the list that they have a lot of stuff on, or number 2, this is the way they get a lot of things done because they can hold a lot of people hostage and blackmail.
Gotcha.
That's it. I can't add a third. What's the third? So if you look at Cash, he's so good with words, right? And this is the difference between politicians and statesmen. But I also understand that Trump understands power. And do you think Trump knows who's on that list?
I think Trump knows more than Cash.
Okay, so Trump knows who's on that list. Do you think Trump has experience knowing what it is to hold people hostage, blackmail, New York coming up, whether they did it to him or he did it to others or people that he knew? Do you think he has experience with that?
Mm-hmm. Infinite experience.
Okay, perfect. So, I don't know. I think to me it's like, hey, let me tell you, we got some stuff on prime ministers. We got some stuff on presidents.
Mm-hmm.
We got some stuff on real powerful people around the world, some billionaires.
Yep.
Why give up that control? Why give up that asset? Let's use it to control it. Now, that's the mindset of somebody that runs the free world. You don't think like everybody else. If a lion could speak, you could not understand it, right? Then there is everybody else who, to you, the value is what? Listen, they did this to kids. I have 0 tolerance for that. I fully understand that. Fully get it. I want to know who's on that list. I want to know who's on that list. I want to know what happened with 9/11. I want to know what happened with the moon landing. I want to know what happened. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. But and then let me show you another weird tweet that just came out. Who was the VP candidate for RF Kennedy Jr.?
Shanahan.
Did you hear what she said yesterday, Rob? Can you pull up the tweet of what she just said yesterday?
Yeah.
Very weird,
yeah.
folks.
Oh, really?
You haven't
I
seen
haven't
it?
seen it.
Yeah.
Rob, pull up this clip here. Do you know which one it is?
Yep, I have it right here.
So watch this. This is such a weird tweet. This is Nicole Shanahan. Can you verify that it's her account? Go on her account. Okay. How many followers? That's her account.
Yes,
okay?
it is. I checked.
Okay, go back. Now let's read the tweet. Yes, it's very strange. It doesn't make any sense. I was promised that if I supported RFK Jr. in a Senate confirmation that neither of these siblings would be working under HHS or in an appointment, and that people much more qualified would be. I don't know if RFK very clearly lied to me or what is going on. Wow. It has been clear in recent conversation that he is reporting to someone regularly who is controlling his decisions, and it isn't President Trump. Whoa. With regards to the siblings, there is something very artificial and aggressive about them, almost like they were bred and raised Manchurian assets.
What?
Nicole Shanahan.
And what is she talking
She's
about?
talking about the new person that got the job. So click on that. So Dr. Jack Cruz tried to tell us Mary Talley Bowen was on the podcast too. She knows the deal with means. Let's see how this pans out. I can't help but think this is a very carefully groomed and selected person. Just about no clinical experience, talks a great game and everything but vaccines, feels all wrong. Why? There are so many better choices. Click on that. And this is the appointment of Dr. Casey to be the next Surgeon General, which Laura Loomer posts something about the fact that she doesn't even have her license active as of last November of 2024, January of 2024, I believe. And
she said something to the effect of disappointed in Team Trump.
Well,
something to that effect. For Laura Loomer to say that?
Well, he was supposed to go
you know
somewhere
that she feels
else.
some type of way.
There was another nominee. It was a female, correct? And then they did this last minute. He didn't pick the girl that he was supposed to get.
Now, Casey means real first name Paula. Only recently started going by her name Casey. She moved to Oregon, complete her residency, but decided to drop out on her final year. Now she doesn't even have an active medical license. Trump appoints her as U.S. Surgeon General today. Something just isn't adding up. Why would you go by a different name your whole life and then randomly decide to start going by Casey once you become a social media influencer? Dr. Paula means, I don't know. So,
and then who's her sibling? She said nominated these siblings. Didn't she say that in the first sentence?
Yeah, if you type, what is the relation?
Her brother is Callie Means, an entrepreneur and health policy advocate.
Where's he work for?
Who is 40 years old.
Does he work for any pharmaceutical companies or anything like that?
Together, the Means siblings co-authored the 2024 book, Good Energy, The Surprising Connection Between Metabolism and Limitless Health, which critiques the U.S. healthcare system and emphasizes the role of metabolic health in preventing chronic diseases. Okay. They've been influential figures in the MAHA movement, advising Health and Human Services Secretary RFK on health policy. Their advocacy focuses on promoting whole food diets, reducing processed food consumption, and addressing lifestyle factors contributing to chronic illness. Okay. I would wonder why this was RFK's running mate. I think she donated how much money to the campaign? $20 million, if not more. Does anybody have more insight on what RFK is doing than his running mate? And for her to basically look at this decision and say, what is going on here?
Manchurian candidate, that's a
very strong allegation.
Define what a Manchurian candidate is.
Manchurian
I just
candidate,
watched it a month and a half ago with the kids.
It's when they use like that MK Ultra brainwashing stuff to have people under their control. They could hire you to be an assassin, and the assassin could do the hit and then come out of it and not know anything that they did with any recollection or any knowledge of it. It's that brainwashing stuff that we watch, even that movie, in the movie. Actually, they did do a movie about it, but Chaos, where the CIA uses, drugs and all mind-altering stuff with psychiatrists to make you lose your freaking mind and lose all self-control, and you become a freaking a hitman for them.
That's one type. The other type is you simply create a candidate who is going to work against the state, the country for which you get elected. And behind the scenes, that person is a very bad person, but out in front, they're groomed for it without brainwashing. So you're right. There's couple ways create a Manchurian candidate. One is, basically a spy that you groom all the way up so that they could get elected somewhere. And then they're working on things that not in the favor of the country or the city that they're elected to.
Yep.
I think it's important to point out, we don't know anything about them. This is not our opinion. We're commenting on what other people have said.
Oh, yeah. And then
I've never really heard
Trump
of these people.
first pick.
No, this is Nicole Shanahan used the term Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, Rob, you ready for this? So Trump's first pick was Dr. Jeanette Neshawat. But after questions came up about her medical credentials and her past support for COVID vaccines, he pulled her nomination and went with Casey Means.
Rob, this is the announcement the president's making.
Yes, he just went live about a minute ago. Here, I can pull it up.
Go for it.
Products produced by our great farmers, and our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products, but this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries because it'll be really great for the UK also. So they're opening up the country. Their country is a little closed, and we appreciate that. They'll also be fast-tracking American goods through their customs process, so our exports
United Kingdom
to a very, very quick form of approval, and there won't be any red tape. Things are going to move very quickly both ways. The final details are being written up in the coming weeks. We'll have it all very conclusive, but the actual deal is a very conclusive one. We think just about everything's been approved. So good for both countries, and we'll also receive new market access for American chemicals, machinery, and many other industrial products that weren't allowed, and they'll end up getting products that they'll be able to price, and if they like them better and we make great products, they'll be buying those products, but they were not available in the UK. Furthermore, in a historic step, the deal includes plans that will bring the United Kingdom into the economic security alignment with the United States. That's the first of its kind. So we have a big economic security blanket, and that's very important. And we feel very, very comfortable with that because it's been a great ally, truly one of our great allies. I mean, a lot of people say our greatest ally. I don't want to insult people by saying that, but I can say it's certainly one of our greatest, and right at the top. And they're the first one we're talking about. And by the way, we have many meetings planned today and tomorrow, and every country wants to be making deals. And we have a meeting, as you know, Scott will be going over to Switzerland on Saturday, and that'll be very, very interesting. We'll find out, but I think they want to make a deal very badly too. Both countries have agreed that the economic security is national security, and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base, appropriate export controls, and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. Steel is a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel and things necessary for military. You know, we used to build ships and other things literally at a level that nobody's ever seen, and we haven't. We've eased up, and I would say that the UK certainly eased up, but now we're going to be uneasing both, and we work together. Once again, I want to thank Prime Minister Starmer. He's been terrific for his partnership in this matter. The special relationship and external bond, it's really an external and an internal bond between our two countries will soon be stronger than ever before. And we really do. We have a great relationship. I want to just say that the representatives of UK have been so professional. And it's been an honor doing business with all of them, and in particular, the Prime Minister.
We can pause.
I'd like to...
So I just looked up right now what the levies are, okay? So the key highlights. Tariff reductions. The agreement aims to lower tariffs that were previously imposed by U.S., including a 10% levy on British imports and a 25% tariff on steel, aluminum, and automobiles. These reductions are expected to benefit key UK industries, particularly automotive and the manufacturing sectors. Digital service tax. UK has agreed to review its 2% digital service tax, which affects major U.S. tech companies. This move is seen as a step towards easing tensions over digital trade and fostering better relations in tech sector. And then the UK is maintained food safety standards, opting not to lower regulations to allow imports of products like chlorinated chicken and hormone-treated beef from U.S. Interesting. So they've not done anything with that, and I don't know how the market has reacted, Tom. I'm assuming you've looked at the market. What is it showing? Let's see what the market is saying.
No big spike, but
market's all green today.
It's all green, but we're not a giant spike. But so therefore, the market is either likes it, or let's put it this way: the market doesn't dislike it because the market didn't drop, and everything's up green.
Yeah, every indicator I'm looking at: the Dow, the S&P, Nasdaq, NYSE, the Russell 2000, Bitcoin's up, Ethereum, the VIX is pretty flat.
How big of an announcement is this, Tom?
I think so. By itself, dollar value, it's not as big as, say, India would be. But it's a big announcement to say, I got a deal done, and now we're going to paper it. And that there's enough in there that they're speaking about. Also, you heard in there between the lines, he said, and we're going to take down some blocks on industry so that U.S. products can be sold over there. And they can price it, and if the people of the UK like it, then, folks in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland can buy stuff. So I would say on a 1 to 10 impact, this is about a 7 or 8. But on influence, this is an 11.
Why?
Because it's a done deal. It's a trade deal that's done. It says that the team has got it, and it's going to influence the completion of other trade deals, and it's good news. And I think the market kind of expected it. The market didn't drop on it. The market didn't spike, so the market likes what it heard. And I think when you look at all these things, it is, look, we're flirting with 5,700, and we're above where we were on April 1st. So now we're at the next tier. The next tier is to get back to 6,000 in the market, and we're really close. So I think this is really good. This is the influence of this announcement is really big. Look, we got the deal done with the UK. Let's get the deal done with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a top 10, top 15 deal to be done. This isn't a top 3, top 5. I mean, they're an ally, they're a strategic partner, but it's not like we just did a deal with China or even Canada for that matter.
But
so it's a win.
It's a win.
It's another notch on his belt.
It's starting,
but not
and we're
a top
taking
5.
off the tariffs we put in place.
Yeah,
it's a win for Trump, and kudos to you for getting this done.
Yeah. Well, let's
What are
see.
your thoughts, PBD?
I mean, it's good, but like I said, it's not a top.
You're not
15.
impressed.
No, I think it's good. You need stories, which is great. They need stories, but
it wasn't a major announcement.
No, it's not something that UK is not. There's nothing with UK that we're like, oh my God, we really need UK for this, or we really no. I think Mexico, Canada, China, India, those are probably in the top 5. Say top 7, whatever. But I would say top 5. I don't know, Tom. You seem like you want to say something.
My closing point is, let's take a look at the market for the last week. The market's been damn stable the last week. And just sitting there like 56.20, 56.30, nice and stable. Look at it for the last week. And by the way, I'm quoting the S&P. And
Tom, you can't take a 7-second break.
Yeah,
Rob,
Tom,
can you
what's
do me
your
a favor?
point?
Go to the clip I sent you.
No, the point I'm
go to
making
the clip
is
that I sent you about
Canada's
CNN getting
good
upset
news.
about the fact that they're upset that tariffs won't be passed on consumers. Where what's her name? She does a phenomenal job explaining this on CNN. It's almost as if they're upset that the market is back up where it was before. Do you see the clips and the notes?
Completely.
Rob, if you don't have it,
is it the Batya clip?
Yes, that's the Batya clip.
I have it.
She's crushing it.
Yeah, if you can play this clip. This is so interesting, guys. Watch this here. CNN is upset that the market is recovering, and all of a sudden they're becoming supportive of big corporate America, and the guy has to change himself. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but go ahead. They got caught again. Go for it, Rob.
S&P 500, the Dow Jones, all up today. They've recovered everything that they lost since Liberation Day.
Look at her face.
Things are actually going really, really well. This whole thing about GM, the CEO saying that they're going to be, there's going to be a $5 billion cost to the tariffs. But she also said something very important. She said, this will not be passed on to the consumer. So where is it going to come from, you might wonder? Well, they brought down their projections. Not all of it will be passed. No, she said none of it will be passed on to the consumer, that this will come out of the profits. They projected 14 billion profits. They're taking that projection down to 10 billion. This is what we want.
Okay, but wait.
This is what we want.
Okay.
We want tariffs. So we want manufacturing. We want the billionaires to pay their fair share, and we want the cost not to be passed on to the consumers. And that's what we're seeing. Such a great example.
Hold on. Let me just try to understand this. So GM's profits will decrease probably significantly as a result of this. Let's take that.
I'm telling you what they said.
I know. I'm just saying. Okay, let's
Zero
take
to
that
Republican in 7
What do you
seconds.
think is going to happen when GM's profits suddenly drop? What will happen to GM and the people that work there?
The CEO herself, Mary Barra, thanked President Trump for this because she is a patriot and she understands that the situation we're in with China is not sustainable.
Shareholders would like to have a word.
We sold out our future to China. Somebody had to do something about that.
Shareholders would like to have a word.
The corporation's going to take less money they're going to eat the profits out of the sense of
it's so
patriotism.
great to hear Democrats suddenly being so, pro-corporation and
No. I'm not being pro-corporation. I'm actually being pro-people. Because what's bad for the corporation is going to be bad for the worker. Now, look, I couldn't care less about it. Listen. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't care less about any of the corporations.
Corporations are people, my friend.
They're not.
You're working for a corporation.
Except the one on your paycheck, dude.
It is. But look, I couldn't care about any of the corporations that were just listed. But
You can pause it right there. But what's great about the fact that, you keep talking, boom, you find a contradiction, and now you have to backtrack and go back to saying, well, that was kind of a good idea. But no, I'm going to now support the big corporations when I see something like this. So, Tom, you were saying, I think, what she was saying. So what are your thoughts when you see her comments there?
Well, I think CNN should become DNN, the disingenuous news network, because I think that's completely disingenuous. She exposed herself. She took all the credibility out of herself, as a host with her statements. And I'm not picking on her personally. What she said was completely disingenuous. Oh, and now you care about the corporations. Well, let me tell you something, madam. There are union contracts that control wages for the workers. So the people that are hurt are, in fact, the shareholders. They're the ones that will be hurt because without the profits there, Jim said, but guess what? This is going to be a short-term thing because it's up to. Mary Barra did not say, I'm making my quarterly announcement and I have 10 versus 14 billion. That's not what she said. She said potentially, but we're not raising the prices to the consumer because you know why she had to do it? You know why Mary Barra had to do that? Because of a guy named Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, who's in a better position than GM is on helping more people in America work in America because Ford makes more in America than GM. So capitalism works because a guy named Farley doing the right thing at Ford just forced Mary Barra to move on the chessboard and say, I'm not raising prices to the American consumer. And guess who wins? The American consumer wins. And guess what? This whole program that we're trying to get leveling and more fairness around the world, that wins. And then who loses? CNN looking for bad news headlines, trying to find a way to pick on Trump, trying to find a way to do it, and basically stepping over their own feet here. That's what I think. Welcome, DNN, the Disingenuous News Network.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Batya. She was on the show, I want to say 2 years ago, PBD.
Yep.
Batya Ungar Sargon. I've seen her with you on Piers Morgan.
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the other one.
Is on fire these days. Now, why is she on fire of all people? It's because she's a former classic liberal who basically saw what was happening going on, and she used her brain and she used common sense to say, what the hell is going on right here? So she's written a couple books, Bad News of How Woke Media is Undermining Democracy. That was in 2021, I believe, when she came on the show. That was what she was talking about. But her latest book is how the elites have betrayed America's working men and women. So she talks about what we've done in the manufacturing, how we basically gutted out our manufacturing and sold to China. She criticizes the woke progressive left, just like she criticizes the corporate elites on the right. And something happens when you just use common sense and you're not tied to any political party. People are going to get very upset with you. And I hope she pisses off a lot more people because she's speaking common sense to insane people.
I don't think she's going to stop anytime soon. I think she's doing a great job. It's a lot of common sense, and it's great to see that taking place. Okay, let's go to the next story here. Rob, if you can pull up Trump getting ready to announce to call the Persian Gulf Arabian Gulf. And this has been leaked all over the place. He is getting ready to announce this his upcoming Saudi Arabia visit that the U.S. will refer to the Persian Gulf as the Arabian Gulf of or Gulf of Arabia, following his earlier renaming of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, reported as Associated Press. With U.S. officials, Trump teased a significant announcement. So, Rob, if this is it, Rob, go for it and play it.
Is that referring to the Persian Gulf as the Arabian Gulf? Are you going to make that announcement on your
They're going to ask me about that when I get there, and I'll have to make a decision.
So you haven't made a decision yet?
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't know if feelings are going to be hurt. Why have a case right over here? It's called Gulf of America. And I guess a lot of people get ideas from us. But the Gulf of America was something I thought should have been named a long time ago. I'm going to be given a briefing on that. It was just done. Then I'll make a decision.
Is it the U.S. position that Iran can have an enrichment program as long as it doesn't reach a weapons?
We haven't made that decision yet. we will, but we haven't made that decision yet.
President, China said the U.S. initiated the trade.
So, the Persian Gulf, covering nearly 97,000 square miles and bordering Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and Oman, has been naming disputes since the 1960s, with Arab nations pushing for Arabian Gulf over the historical Persian Gulf, Iran, with over 1,000 miles of coastline, threatened legal action against Google in 2012 for not labeling the Gulf, and warned airlines in 2010, stating that calling it Arabian Gulf on in-flight monitors will be barred from Iranian airspace. Rob, if you can play the clip of the Shah being asked this question by Mike Wallace back in, God knows, 1972 or 76. It's on Twitter. If you just go to my account, you'll see it right there. I retweeted it. You'll see all the way at the top of it. I think it may even be the most recent tweet that I have. That one right there. If you can play this, zoom out. Yeah, there you go.
As you know, I have been across the Gulf that you call Persian and they call Arabian.
Why do you call it Gulf? You have been to school, haven't you?
Yes.
What was the name that you have read during your school days?
Persian Gulf.
All right.
But they do call it Arabian Gulf.
Well, they can do many things.
And they...
You see his poise?
As you know...
You see his poise, how it is? Do you see how he's handling himself? Do you see how classy it was? Do you see how amazing it was? Let me tell you how awesome Iran was at one point. This is Iranian kids right now, Rob, if you can play this clip. This is Iranian kids right now in Iran singing, and look what they say about Hezbollah. Then look how Iranians used to sing kids when the Shah was the leader. You tell me if you notice a difference between what it is now versus what it was pre-1979 Islamic Revolution. Go ahead, Rob. Evil America, listen carefully. This is the code name for our operation. These are words from our promised Allah. All of you infidels, Americans, we the Hezbollah will defeat you. Jeez. Prosper Iran, forever shine. Be free, O Iran, through every time. From your children, brave and noble. Be ever joyful, O Iran, anew.
What a difference of brainwashing leadership. Holy shit. Sorry. Oh my goodness. What a change.
Let me tell you, when you get leaders of the Khomeinis, the Khomeinis, all of those guys that have been running Iran since 78 and turned the Middle East into as chaotic of an environment as it's ever been, pre-79, this was not happening when the Shah was in charge. They didn't fully trust Israel. Shah never did, but they had a good relationship together. They made it work. He didn't trust a lot of different people, but there was a relationship there. He has a way of talking to people and working with them. Even the IRGC founder said that we kept talking about how many people the Shah killed. The number wasn't that big. The number was in the 1,500s to 3,000. And their claims they made constantly over and over and over and over again. One number is too many. But they made him seem like the biggest dictator of all time, and he was never that. He brought freedom to women. You know, girls were being married at 8 years old, 10 years old. He says that doesn't make any sense. 13, 15, even higher ages. Women could go to school. My mother got her 4-year degree in finance from the University of Tehran. My mother in Iran got her 4-year degree from the University of Tehran many, many years ago. And so, and she was somebody that was a supporter of, she fell for the trap, and a lot of people did, that the Shah and the people were all about the rich and all this stuff. And Khomeini's going to come, he's going to give us free rice, free cars, free phones, free this, free that. And what happens? The rest is destroyed. So the question becomes, is Trump doing this, trolling? Why is he doing it? I have some thoughts, but Adam, I'm going to come to you first.
I mean, one of the best things I've learned since being next to you for the last 5 years is understanding the nature of the Persian people and Iran. Because, the revolution was in 79. I was born in 80. And I never knew an Iran that wasn't this Islamic, theocratic, thug, murderous regime. Seeing the videos that you show when the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, was in charge, it's like a different world. you see videos of women and beautiful women in dresses and dancing. It was like, you know how they say that like Lebanon is sort of like the modern Paris of the Middle East, which is no longer the Paris of the Middle East. 50 years ago was Iran. And compare that to what's going on today. So, you know, in America today, we talk about, listen, these schools, this woke, this progressives, they're no longer
Cancer.
educating, they're indoctrinating. So picture this. That's what's going on in America. When we have freedoms, civil liberties, okay, this indoctrination that's going on, imagine being in Iran, where you have no say. You can't say back to the government. You can't push back. The indoctrination of these kids is insane. So you start to see this. All right, they're singing about, what group were they singing about? Hezbollah, were they not?
Hezbollah.
So Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, they're all funded by the Islamic terror group in Iran. So don't tell me that everyone in Gaza is just an innocent victim of this war that's happening right now, because all these kids have unfortunately been indoctrinated by Hamas for the last 20 years. And that is a small example of what they do.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know, what is the president doing? You know, do I want to see the Persian Gulf be renamed to something else? Of course not. The history of the Persian Gulf being named the Persian Gulf for 2,500 years. And if you look at the history of who called it that, what names they had, what different places, the history of it is well documented. Everybody sees it. But what is the president doing? He is using this as a method of negotiation to get under the skin of Iran. Mm-hmm. That's what he's doing. And he's sitting there saying, who's going to do a better deal with me? If Saudi's going to put 1.3 trillion, 600 billion, you're going to do all that stuff to America, and Iran's going to look and, you know, treat us the way they are. Guess what, Iran? I'm going to get under your skin. That's what he's doing. And I understand his methodology of what he's doing. I truly do. I get what he's doing. This would have never, ever happened if the Shah was in Iran. Never, ever happened to all the people as much as they criticize that man. This would have never, ever happened if the Shah was still leading that country and Iran had a democracy. Never happened. Because Iran would have had a good relationship with Israel. Iran would have had a good relationship with Saudi. Iran would have had a good relation with America. Iran would have had a good relation with a lot of different people. But no. You have somebody right now that's financing and selling everything Iran has to places like China, a $400 billion deal that they signed for, 25 years. And so, yeah, we're going to do a nuclear deal, and they just have to promise that they're not going to build any nuclear weapons. You think you believe them? I already think they have it. I'm speculating, but I'm convinced Iran already has nuclear capabilities. My opinion. So it's not a fact. It's my opinion. I believe they already have it. You think they're going to tell you about it? If the Hamas can build the underground tunnels that they've been able to build for as many years as they did, and those guys are amateurs, what do you think Iran's capable of building underground? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think is down there? You want me to negotiate and say, yeah, make sure you guys don't build any nuclear? Stop it. Stop it. Anyways, Adam, you sound like you want to say something.
No, I just, two things. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. So when Iran is shouting death to America, death to Israel, just believe them. Take them at their word. I believe that they actually want to see America fall to their knees. And they call America the big Satan. They call Israel the little Satan. Now, I'm not even tying those two together. They want to see us dead. Not the people, the Ayatollahs. But number two, what authority does Trump have to change the Gulf, the Persian Gulf? Like, what authority does he have? Meaning, okay, we can change the Gulf of Mexico.
What authority does the president have?
Meaning that's not his side of the world. What authority does he have to do that?
It's called the biggest megaphone ever in the history of mankind. Ever. It's the biggest megaphone. And by the way, if he says the Arabian Gulf, guess how many people around that area would actually support that? If he says that and he goes being aggressive with it, let me tell you, there's a lot of people that will start calling that themselves. What did he say to Associated Press? If you stop calling the Gulf of America, I'm going to stop funding you.
Yep. Yeah.
If you the amount of power this man has, with the way he negotiates and how calculating he is. No, this is a brilliant move to get under Iran's skin, and I think it's going to work in many creative ways, and I think a lot of people are going to support it. As much as for a guy that is from there and I'm driven by history, I'm not supportive of this. I fully understand why he's doing it.
Yeah. It's probably to get under their skin.
It is.
Meaning, like, he's not buying Greenland. He's not
No.
making Canada the 51st state. Who knows what's going on with the Panama Canal? He's doing this. He's poking the bear. And it's all leading to a negotiation.
Okay,
So
Rob,
we'll see.
I want to play this clip. I'm gonna take a different angle. Okay, so I'm gonna play this clip about marriage. I'm a psychologist who studies couples. Then I'm gonna play a Paul Pierce clip. Okay, Robin, we're gonna go to that. I'm glad you have it. I'm a psychologist who studies couples. This is not me. This is the article.
was you.
The number one phrase that breaks up relationships. It's more damaging than you think. And here's what the psychologist claims it is. Study in couples identifies the phrase, why can't you be more like ...
Your brother.
as highly damaging, noting that it conveys you're not enough and anyone else could do a better job at being my partner, leading to irreparable insecurity issues. This death by comparison effect undermines relationship by making partners question their worth rather than feeling love for who they are. The phrase often stems from a deeper issue when partners fear openly expresses needs, with research showing that uncertainty about the relationship or partner's response leads to suppressed frustration, such as saying, why can't you be more like Sarah's husband? He actually plans dates. Instead of, I feel disconnected when we don't spend quality time together. The psychologist explains that the more secure and emotionally close a person feels in their relationship, the more likely they are to communicate directly. Tom, I'm only coming to you on this one. Then on the clip, I'm going to go to Vinny and Adam. But for you, what are your thoughts on this psychologist and what she's saying?
I think it's absolutely correct. Anytime, I once read that anytime you bring a third person or a third entity into a marriage in such a way that it majorly interrupts things is a form of adultery. And for some people, it could be hobbies. The guy that all he does all the weekends is play golf with his buddies rather than spending time with his wife. It's a form of adultery.
I know that guy.
You went insert something like that into your marriage, it's that. And these words insert this permanent comparison in there, and it's a breaking. It's like adultery. It's like now there's this third thing in the room. Your wife says, I love you. You supposedly love me, but you love this remembrance of this other person more. And so now you're saying, why can't I be more like that? It's like that other person's in the room. And what I've read is those are the kind of words that have just dramatic destructive power. And so this aligns with things that I've read and seen about how to have positive, enduring, loving, committed marriages.
Maybe he's just trying to say, why can't we just be friends?
Yeah. Why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be friends? Okay, all right. So now,
so we're going to go back to Rodney King.
Yes.
Why can't we all get along, man?
Yeah. So this next one I'm going to show is Paul Pierce, a very committed husband to his wife. That was a joke. But Paul Pierce is being asked about marriage and what he thinks about marriage. And I want to get the thoughts of the panel here, what he thinks about what Paul Pierce said here. Go for it, Rob.
Marriage is for old people and poor people.
Okay, so let's get into that. Why?
Okay.
Because when you broke, our parents, like my moms and all them, they married on a merit of like, okay, we're going to put our incomes together, have all these kids, and then when our kids, we're going to have 5, 10 kids back in the 60s, all them, they're going to have 5, 10 kids so they can work and bring income.
Yeah.
So you poor. So you married for that. And now when you get old, somebody that to be by your side to take care of you. Outside of that, it's no advantage to a man. What does it do for a man when things go south? Like, we going to have to give up half our this, pay child support, but it's only advantageous to a woman. Like, it's real talk.
But what if you meet a woman and you're like, wow, she's a gem, she's valuable, she's
could be
everything, and I
together.
want to lock her down in marriage?
I don't want to lock no woman down. We could be cool
So you're telling me right now today,
today.
you on January 4th, you do not want to be in a relationship ever again?
I don't think it's realistic long term until I turn 70. Until I turn 70, that's the only realistic part I see. Because we both old, we ain't out in the streets.
Adam, I'm going to come to you first. Go ahead, Adam.
At least he's being honest.
On the surface, it would sound pretty shocking, and you might want to disagree with what he's saying. But if you actually peel back what he's saying and remove the hyperbole, it makes a lot of sense. Why? Because what he's saying is this: for a man, modern man, to get married in America, he has to understand what he's getting himself involved in. Are you bringing out this belt for a particular reason, sir?
You're about to get a pop out.
I don't want to pop out. Listen, I believe wholeheartedly in marriage. You should not have sex till you're married. You should marry your high school sweetheart. Don't shop around for better women out there. Find the first woman that loves you. But the reality is this.
But the reality is, Keith said you have to be ready to pay with your life. All you needed for Adam is a belt.
Thank you, Tom.
You seem to have moved your position pretty quick there, dude.
It was a joke, Tom. The belt.
Don't hurt me. I'll say whatever you want.
The reality is this: for men in America today, these are going to be two totally different things. Do you want to find someone to share your life with? Do you want a relationship? Do you want to have kids with somebody? Yes, 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 yes. Do you want to be married to the government? Do you want to have half your stuff, if not your entire life, taken? Do you want to be a part of the 98% of men who end up paying alimony? Do you want to basically not be able to see your kids? Do you want to have to pay child support to a woman who won't let you see your kids? There's an ugly other side to this marriage thing.
Every one of those things he said can be fixed.
Exactly. But one of the best things I ever heard you possibly say is, marriage is risky. Tom, let's grow up for a second here, guys.
Good, Tom.
I'm taking a bong hit, so that makes sense.
Tom is literally making bong hitting noises here, and I'm the childish one here on the podcast. Okay, guys, let's continue. One of the best things you ever said is, not getting married is risky. I'm sorry, getting married is risky. Not getting married, even riskier. Having kids is risky. Not having kids, even riskier. Starting a business, risky. Not starting a business, even riskier. There's so much truth in that. But the reality is the grass is always greener on both sides. You just have to know what you want out of life and go for that. But I understand what Paul Pierce is saying. But I also understand why someone like him.
Rob, can you do me a favor and pull up this guy who is, I think his name is Sexton, who is going viral, who's a divorce attorney, who tells a lot of stories. He talks about his own personal divorce. But watch what he says caused couples to never come back to him for divorce. You have to watch this clip. Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip. He's on Huberman Podcast. Go ahead.
Done probably hundreds, if not thousands, of prenups over 25 years. I think there may be 5 people that I did their divorce after they had a prenup.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that again.
I think that, yeah. So I've done hundreds, if not at least 1,000 prenups in 25 years. I probably do 2 or 3 prenups a week. So I do a lot of prenups. Most of my colleagues do a lot of prenups. And I've never asked my colleagues this, but usually when you do a prenup, you have a good relationship with the person by the time it's finished. It's a transaction people feel good about. It's a divorce. Sometimes you finish a divorce and the person's like, oh my God, I never want to see you again because you remind me of this really dark chapter. But prenups, it's usually a very friendly transaction. It's positive.
This is surprising to me. So people who prenup tend not to break up. Yes, that rhymes.
Yes.
Yes. I think many people will be very surprised to hear that.
I think it's self-selecting. I think the kind of people who can have a conversation that you need to have in order to discuss and negotiate. And again, there's another term. I don't think it's the right term, negotiate.
Vinny, what are you thinking?
Well, while you guys were talking, I just wanted to see what would make Paul Pierce say something like that. Like, it's for poor people and it's for old people. So he was married to actress Dana Davis in 2000. They had a daughter, and then they divorced in 2004. And then he began dating interior designer Julie Landrum in 2005, married her in 2010. They have 3 children, and then he announced he was single in 2023. I mean, I don't know the history. I don't know what the relationship was, if there was prenups and if there was all this. It sounds like, he's paid a lot of money. Maybe he did, or looks like from the sound of him being like that, I don't think he signed a prenup with the earlier ones. So he's probably bitter and he's spending a lot of money. And it's like, listen.
But why do you think he said 70? Did he say 70 because at 70 he's going to need somebody to take care of him? Maybe his testosterone level is going to be lower, so his desire to want to be.
Desire and done playing around, done being that guy. And then number 2, you're old and you want somebody like, you know what some other people do? They get a dog They get a cat. Adam gets 2. But I think it's he's been hurt. He's bitter right now.
Some countries they get sheep, they get pigs, they get other types of.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but I think he's been he's been through it. He's seen it. He's bitter.
Eastern Hemisphere, Western.
Totally different. Totally different.
Yeah.
But that's what's that. And by the way, again, that's his prerogative. That's what he wants. Good luck.
All right.
So can I say one more thing? Because I actually
get your belt.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
There's only one person here on this panel who I believe has been through a divorce.
You're not the only one.
Oh, Tom as well?
I'm just saying, you're not the only one.
And you're not the... So I've been through a divorce, and I had a prenup. And the relationship was rocky as hell. But the divorce, because of the prenup, actually seamless. Not an issue. These are the rules of engagement. These are the rules of what's happening here. We ended up being very cool, mutual friends at the end. Hell of a guy, I'll tell you that much. No, joke. Great girl, and she's now married. Now she's starting her own family. She's doing her own thing. But the prenup basically established these are what the rules of engagement are going to be. There's a famous line, holla, we want prenup. Yeah, because when you leave your ass, you're going to leave with half. If you don't have that prenup, you're going to get taken to the cleaner. So I totally understand why having a prenup is imperative for both sides. No? Don't you feel pretty strongly about prenups, PBD?
Oh, I'm a 1,000,000% prenup guy.
Okay.
I'm a 1,000,000% prenup guy. I think it does everything for everyone to know what the risk is and allows the man to actually work harder.
Yeah.
It allows the man to work harder and provide more, and it causes everybody to understand what's at stake if you do something dumb. And it's not like no one's going to do anything dumb. I mean, you have to realize we're all sinners. We all do dumb things in our lives, but you don't want to make the big dumb mistakes. If you do, it's going to be costly in a big way. So I do think what Paul is talking about as well is when you go through the life of playing around for too long, that whole phrase, what is the phrase? Why can't you be like
your brother?
Like Johnny.
Yeah. When you're at that age and you've been around, you're like, why can't you have her butt, but her personality, but Mary's lips, but Jackie's legs, but Cindy's this, and that person's father, and this person's mother, and that person's sister, and this person. So why can't you have that? Because you have like so many different things, so it's hard for you to see. Anybody you see and you date, in one area, they're not going to be as good as another person you've had. Anybody.
That's true.
So that's the challenge that it becomes for a guy like Paul Pierce. How old is Paul Pierce, by the way? I don't know how old the guy is.
I want to say probably about to be 50,
is he?
I'm guessing.
47.
47.
Okay,
47
My bad, Paul Pierce.
He's my
That's
age.
The truth.
Wow. Guess what? We're exactly October 18th, baby. He's 13th.
Wow, look at that.
He's a
But he's
year
1 year
and
older.
5 days older than me. Yeah, you're.
They say that Paul Pierce is, what his nickname was? He played ball,
The
right?
truth.
He was the truth. So do you think what he's saying is the truth, or is he spitting?
I think it's his truth. I think it's his truth, and
you know what they say about my truth these days?
yeah. So, but
Truthiness.
but listen, it is what it is, and it is a topic of discussion that a lot of people are having. But like Adam said, there are risks to being married, but there are risks to staying single. There are risks to having kids, but there are riskier times to not having kids. You got to manage your own risks. Anyways, gang, it's been great being with you guys. Spending time with you. I don't think we have another podcast, Rob, if I'm mistaken. Nothing we got going on tomorrow. However, we do have an episode of Her Take coming out tomorrow. And by the way, I don't know if you have the intro or not, Rob.
I do not, but I can see if they can.
Yeah.
I may have it. Hang on 1 second.
By the way, do you realize after one episode of Her Take, it outperformed Michelle Obama's first time when she opened up her channel?
Weird.
Yeah, very impressed to everybody that's supporting it. Remember, we told you, mainstream gave you the view. Valuetainment's giving you Her Take. If you want to see more ladies to come, is this the one, Rob?
This is the trailer.
This is the trailer for tomorrow's episode of Her Take. Go for it, Rob.
Welcome to Her Take, where real
No, this is not it, Rob. This is from last week's.
So that's the only trailer.
Yeah, then it's all good. I have another one that was there. Anyways, if you go to Her Take the channel, and Rob, if you don't mind also putting the link below. If you put the link below as well for people to just go to YouTube, Rob, and just type in Her Take. Yeah, is that the one, Rob?
Yep.
Okay.
Bingo.
So if you can put the link as well, folks, please go
17,000
support
subscribers or 17.5?
But look at the first episode, how it did. Go to the first episode. 106,000 views. 106,000 views. The ladies did a phenomenal job. We had another call yesterday. An interesting guest We'll be on the next one that's coming out. We have the next show that's coming up. Put the link below, Rob, if you could, in the chat, in the comment sections. Guys, please go support the ladies. They're doing a great job. We're excited about the Show Her Take. And there will be many, many more surprising announcements coming soon. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye, bye-bye.